welcome to Farmers Union Insurance Pregame Show. I'm Lauren Hill, joined by Ken Oda and Evan Epstein. Getting ready for Game 3 of the first round of the playoffs against the Austin Bruins this weekend. So we are back home in the Mesa Arena for Game 3. How excited are y'all knowing that we are up 2-0?
Playoff games in the Mesa, there's nothing like it in this division. Place is always rocking. Should be fun, and hopefully get some handshakes here at home instead of having to go all the way back to Austin.
And I think being up 2-0 could let the Toros play a little bit looser, takes a little bit of the pressure off of a normal playoff game, and hopefully they're flying around out there on the ice. And like you said, wrap it up in 3.
All right, let's take a look at last Saturday's win over the Austin Bruins.
The Bruins outshot the Toros 20-7 in the first period, but the Toros held the Bruins off the board. In the second, it's Braden Jockums picking off a pass in the neutral ice and scoring on the breakaway as the Toros strike first. In the third period, Ryan Lund's long shot deflected off of Dane Ramirez. The puck got past Lucas Vedina as the Bruins would knot the game up at 1. Toros had some looks down the stretch, unable to win the game in regulation, but no matter, just 44 seconds into overtime, Jesse Ahala, kniving between defenders, picks his spot and rifles one past the Bruins goaltender Carl Axelson as the Toros take a 2-0 series lead. Lucas Vedin makes 47 saves, gives up just 1 goal in another magnificent performance.
Yeah, Swedes looked great all weekend. Hopefully he looks the same here as we look to get the sweep tonight.
All right, well, now let's turn our attention back to tonight's game with a look at our updated Noodles numbers brought to you by Noodles & Company of Minot. So they do look a little different now that we are in playoffs. So our Toros' current record is 2-0 and Austin's is 0-2.
Yeah, you look at obviously the only teams they've played are each other, as this is the first round of the playoffs, so the numbers pretty much mirror each other. Toros getting 2.5 goals a game, Bruins giving up 2.5 goals a game. And yeah, everything looks to favor the Toros. The one thing of note, special teams have been a non-factor for the most part. Neither team has scored on the power play. Both teams have had the same number of power play opportunities as well. Really, not much has happened on the ice during those power play opportunities.
And for what the Toros to do what they did on the road in Austin, Minnesota, to take a 2-0 series lead despite not having the hottest finish to the regular season, 4 straight losses to finish it out, but the Toros play their best hockey when it matters the most. I think that is such a tribute to the job that head coach Cody Campbell has done to get the Toros playing their best hockey when it matters the most.
For sure. And you look at that last series the Toros did get a win was against these Austin Bruins here in Minot. I thought the Toros were really the better team both nights, only got the split after an interesting penalty call in the third period on Friday.
All right, well, it's time to look at our Minotauros Booster Club players to watch. I'm going to kick it off with my choice tonight of Braden Jockums. So he has 2 points so far in the playoffs. Crucial first goal on Saturday in Austin. He did have 1 assist and as well as 5 shots on goal throughout the weekend. Last weekend, as well as his line, Noah Gibbs and Chuck Owens have been working well together. So I do think that Braden Jockums is a great choice to watch tonight.
And feeding off of that, I'm actually going with Chuck Owens. I think he's sometimes overlooked. The Toros PK has been strong all year. He is the 4th forward on that PK, right? The first group over the wall is Small and Spence. Second pair over the wall is Owens with Billy Batten. They've done a ton of work shorthanded for the Toros, part of keeping the Bruins over 8 on the power play in this series. He also had 20 points in the regular season, including a goal against the Austin Bruins. I'm hoping we can see him pop one tonight.
And he also helped on that Billy Batten goal on the crisscross play. Didn't pick up a point, but definitely still helped Batten lose those 2 defenders.
Yeah, his drive of the net pulled both defenders away from bats, which allowed him to score.
But with that, I'm going with Landon Fleming. I thought Fleming played great hockey last weekend, well positioned on the ice. He was +4. That leads the team. He's getting extra shifts with Adam Mahler now in the postseason, and I think he's taking advantage of it.
All right, well, that'll bring us to our home key group keys to the game. Ken, what are your keys to tonight's game?
Well, first home key group key to the game, the joy of Pepsi. Toros have the worst home record of the 4 Central Division playoff teams, but historically the Pepsi has been a haven for the Toros. They've played really well here, especially in the playoffs. Since 2018, Toros 10-4 in this building in the postseason, looking to capitalize on that tonight. Brace for impact. This was something we talked about before Game 2 as well. I expect the Bruins to turn to their physical style of play as they try and maybe hit their way back into this series. Not only that, but the first 20 minutes tonight are going to be important. I'm expecting the Bruins to come out and give it everything they've got. If the Toros can weather that storm, come out either even or even better with a lead, Bruins may start to feel like they just don't have a chance, right? And the third home key group key to the game, depth charge. You look at the Toros' depth this year. 6 players with at least 50 points on the season compared to just 3 for the Bruins. The Toros, 6 players who have 50 points this year, they combined for 6 points in games 1 and 2. The Bruins, 3 50-point scorers, held off the score sheet last weekend. So the Toros were able to deploy Mahler and Flem against that top unit for the Bruins and essentially shut them down. The Bruins, because the Toros have 2 lines of forwards who put up 50 points, couldn't really focus on either group. And the first night, it was Small. Second night, it was Uhala who got goals and gave the Toros the 2 wins.
And I think you can add that third line. Maybe they haven't put up the same numbers as those top 2 lines, right? You trade midseason for Braden Jockums and for Noah Gibbs. Chuck Owens fills the third man on that unit, and they were so impressive last weekend at Austin. That's the group that assistant coach Tyler Ebner talked about yesterday. Standing out to him was their play out on the ice. So maybe you even think about matching that group up with that Lorenzo line. We don't know what head coach Cody Campbell is going to do, but the Toros have 3 very strong units right now.
Indeed.
All right, Minotauros fans, time to take out your phones and pull up your Towers mobile app for your chance to win prizes throughout tonight's game. Starting with our Forebears Sportsbook over-unders. Our first one is total Toros first period goals over-under 0.5.
I'm going to take the under here, Ken. I think you mentioned it. The Austin Bruins are going to come out hitting hard. Last weekend, 2 scoreless first periods. You saw the Bruins outshoot the Toros 20-7 in the first. That was their strongest period of the night. I think the Toros hold the Bruins scoreless, but I don't think they get on the boards themselves. I'm going under.
I'm going to take the over here. As you mentioned, both games last weekend saw scoreless first periods. Toros don't usually get shut out in the first period. I think it's going to be pretty hard to do it 3 games in a row. For that matter, I think it's pretty hard to shut the Bruins out for 3 games in a row in the first period too. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a 1-1 or a 2-1 score, hopefully favoring the Toros after 1.
Yeah, Ken, I like that stat of mentioning last weekend, and it was scoreless in the first period in both games, and I definitely think the Toros saw that and are going to come out on the ice tonight and try to get something in within that first period, but also, like you mentioned, the Bruins are going to come out heavy-handed and try to get a goal also in the first period, so I definitely could see it going both ways. I'm going to go over. Our second one is total empty net goals over under 0.5.
Well, I made it hard for us to take overs all the way through. Once we get to the next one, you'll see why. I'm going to take the over here. I'm thinking, especially down 2 games to none, if the Toros have any lead in the third period, the Bruins are going to have to pull their goaltender even earlier than usual in an attempt to try and pull even. Or the other end of the ice, if the Bruins do manage to get a lead in the third, Toros are going to pull Swedes to try and get back in. So I think it's likely we see a close game, and even if it isn't a particularly close game, the Bruins will probably have to pull their goalie early if it favors the Toros, so I'm going over.
I'm actually going to go over here. I usually like to go under with an empty netter, but I'm hoping that the Bruins pull their goalie and we get an empty netter tonight and win this series in Game 3.
I'm going to take the under, and not because I don't think there's going to be an empty net, but I think both sides play very well 6-on-5, right? When they add the extra skater, I don't necessarily think that means they're going to give up the empty netter. Now, Ken, like you said, if this is a 2-goal game and the Bruins pulled their goalie with about 5 minutes to go, it's going to be tough to stop. I see this as a 1-goal game, and I don't think either side gives up that extra goal.
All right, and our last one is total overtime minutes played over under 5.5. I said this for both games last week, and I'm going to say it again. No overtime. We won Game 3. Next one.
It's me. I'm going to take the under as well here. We saw overtime in Game 2 last week. Only 44 seconds. First shot of overtime ends it with Jesse Yahala's overtime winner. Even if it does go to OT, I think goalies come out a little bit shaky because they know that the next goal wins, and I think it's going to be another quick overtime period if it does happen.
Well, I can't really take the over. If I took the over on empty netters, that would seem to go at cross purposes, so I'm going to take the under here, just partly wishful thinking. That'll bring us to our McDonald's Toros trivia question. How many of the first 7 Toro Bruins playoff series ended in sweeps? Your choices: 2, 3, 4, or 5.
Now, I do not know the answer to this question, but I'm going to go with the lucky number 3, so option B.
This has been a very even series throughout this season. I'm assuming it's been an even series throughout its history. I'm going to go with 2.
All right. Well, fans, get your guess in the Toros Hockey mobile app. Find out the answer and see if you can get yourself a free lunch from our friends at Dakota Drive McDonald's.
And that'll do it for the Farmers Union Insurance pregame show. Now we'll turn it over to Josh Carlock for tonight's starting lineups.
Good evening, Toro fans, and welcome to the Pepsi Rink at Mesa Arena for Game 3 of the Robertson Cup playoffs presented by Dental Care Associates. Tonight, the visiting Austin Bruins take on your Minotauros. Fans, make some noise if you're ready for some Minotauros playoff hockey!
Cage, but I can't control it. So stay away from me. The beast is ugly. I feel the rage and I just can't hold it. It's scratching on the walls, buzzing in the halls. It comes awake and I can't control it. Hiding under the bed, my body in my head. Why won't somebody come and save me from this? Make it end. I feel it deep within. It's just beneath the skin. I must confess that I feel like a monster. I hate what I've become. The nightmare's just begun. I must confess that I feel like a monster. I feel like a monster. I feel like a monster. My secret side I can't.
Your SRT Communications starting lineup. In goal from Stockholm, Sweden, number 60, Lucas Swedi. On defense from Oregon, Wisconsin, number 77, Landon Fleming. On defense from Lancaster, Ontario, number 42, Adam Muller. At left wing from Phoenixville, Pennsylvania, number 34, Billy Batten. At center from Roma, Finland, number 10, Jesse Uhara. And at right wing from Troy, Michigan, number 7, Jack O'Hannison. And your Magic City Discovery Center captain, Atticus Lamb. Minotauros led by head coach Cody Campbell. Getting assisted by Tyler Ebner and Robert Ozelinchuk. Toro fans, at this time we ask that you rise your able as the Minot Air Force Base Honor Guard presents our nation's colors. Performing the anthem is Haley Ketron.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Hello and welcome inside the Pepsi Rink at Mesa Arena. Game 3 about to get underway between the Toros and the Austin Bruins in the Central Division semifinals. Toros lead the series 2-0 by way of taking both games in Austin last weekend. As almost always, I'm Kenoda. Evan Epstein is alongside. Evan, Toros, a chance to put away the Bruins here at home. 2 chances, really. Hopeful they only need 1.
The Toros last weekend played some of their strongest hockey of the season when it mattered the most. They went on the road to Austin, Minnesota, 2 very defensive battles, but the Toros get the best of the Bruins in both games. Lucas Svedin made 83 saves on the weekend. He gave up just 1 goal each night. If Svedin has another one of those performances, the Toros might be able to pick up the sweep over the Bruins.
That is the plan from a Toros perspective. Of course, the Bruins have plans of their own. Bruins dump it into the Toro end. Back on it, Adam Mahler plays to the far side. O'Hannison slips a little. They were doing some ice maintenance down in the Toros' end of the ice earlier this afternoon. Hopefully that doesn't come into play. Far side, it eludes Yohala. And it's eventually kicked out to neutral. Billy Batten jams at it. Gets help from Connor Toohey. Toohey flips it into the zone, tries to squeeze through, hunts it down. taken towards the end wall. He'll pin the puck with his skate along the end boards while the Toros complete their change and help arrives. It's Spencer and Mindorf for the Toros against all 5 Bruins down in that corner. If the Toros can win the puck, which they do, they might be able to set something up. Up top, Jordan Gibbs, long shot blocked by Ian Spencer, who was trying to provide a jumping screen. Tui keeps it, looks into the middle. He wanted John Small. The pass was off the mark. Hack to the far wall. Evan Malkesian moves it in behind for Albert. Albert to the near corner, and Williams. Williams with a hoist out to neutral. Jordan Gibbs can't glove it down to the stick successfully, but eventually Gavin Mindorf takes it away. Mindorf fights off pressure and is able to play that out to neutral. Would have been an offside, so the Bruins couldn't chip it in. Now they'll look to work the puck into the Toro zone in front of the Toro bench. Jam deep, Swedes out of his net will slow it down and leaves for Tui. Tui immediately flushed out. Plays ahead to the near side, and John Small. Small gains the line, looks into the middle. Gibbs touches for Jockums. Jockums couldn't quite settle it down. Fleming coming on, tries his shot. It's blocked to the far side corner. Noah Gibbs up on the pressure. Puck thrown out to neutral. Chuck Owens on it there. He'll chip it right back in, and the Toros look to chase. It's Noah Gibbs after Lund. Lund plays it around to the far side. Lorenza plays it down the wall. Runs into his own man, Bynum. Eventually, they work it free to Paddington. Paddington has trouble on the far side. Jockums takes it away. Jockums looks to turn up the middle. Hands off to Owens. Jockums put down hard after he made the pass. Puck rolled in behind the net. Jockums takes a run at Lund. Kept at the point by Mahler for a long shot. Tip goes wide. Jockums on the rebound on the near side. Getting held up. He wins the physical battle. Toros work it back to the point in Fleming, but it sneaks by and it rolls out to neutral. Clark throws up the near side for Owens. Owens will chip it deep. Toros were mid-change, batting up on the pressure. Out of his net to play it was Solomon. Guides it to the near side, and the Bruins start up ice. It's Luke Malkesian rolling it in for Savatessin. Savatessin tries his shot. He misses high and wide. That got out to neutral, delayed offside, so the Bruins have to dump it in. Swedes will exit his net and stop it on the new. Leave it in behind for Ty James. James gives to Clark. Clark up the near side, Batten. Batten finds Yohala on the far side. Feeding in for O'Hannison. Shot save made. Rebound, it's in. Toros lead 1-0.
What a play. The initial shot was so open. Jack Solomon did not have a chance to stay in position on the rebound. Comes right back for Billy Batten, and Batten has a wide open net as the Toros get on top first. No stoppages between puck drop to open up the game in that first goal, 2 minutes and 59 seconds in.
Puck chipped deep into the Toros zone. Tui on it first. Toros roll it ahead on the far side. It's Hirschfeld. Hirschfeld banks up the near wall. Jackson Riley rolls it into the Toro end. Tui back on it. Tui turns it over. Peruza looking to the middle. Taken away Jordan Gibbs. Banks ahead. It gets by Williams out to neutral. Yohala touches it ahead to himself. Yohala avoids a run from Albert and then takes the puck back from Albert. Trying to walk out of the corner as Yohala. He's tied up. Puck comes to the near side. Good shoulder thrown by Spencer, but the Bruins find the puck first and they start up the near side. Albert will dump it into the Toro zone. It'll carry him to the front of the net. Mahler has trouble with it. Gets help from Fleming. Fleming in the near corner. Tries Ian Spencer. Spencer stepped into by Lund. Beckwith finished the takeaway. They feed it in front. Bouncing puck, and Swedes is over the top with Adam Mahler providing some protection. And then it was Xander Lipset throwing some punches at the back of Adam Mahler's head after the whistle.
We talked in the pregame show about how last Saturday, perhaps the best period of the weekend for the Bruins was the first, out shooting the Toros 20-7. You wondered how both sides were going to come out here in the first period. It's a new weekend, right? These two teams haven't played since last Saturday, but the Toros come out hot. I think they've done a good job of advancing the puck out of their defensive zone, pushing it forward, and that is what led to the Billy Batten goal to give the Toros the early lead.
Shots are credited as 1-1, but it should be 2-1. It was a rebound goal for Batten. As we have a draw to the left of Swedes with 959 seconds left in the period. Bruins control. Bynum rings it down low. Lorenza tried to work it to the front. It was cut off. John Small Trying to one-hand it ahead, but it's turned over to Lorenzo. Lorenzo shot blocked by Adam Mahler. Mahler puts Paddington down hard. Now a follow-up try. That's blocked as well. And the Toros able to jam it out. 2-on-1. Small. Nice feed by Mindorf. Fleming joins to make it a 3-on-1. Pass across was blocked. As the Toros squander a golden opportunity to make this a 2-0 game.
John Small might have just taken half a second too long to choose between a pass and a shot by the time.
Big hit by Paddington as a Toro down on the ice. Delayed call coming. And they blow the whistle now because the Toros weren't starting up ice, and the Toro player is clearly hurt. It was Mindorf, who is now just getting to his feet. What is the call going to be here? I'll be honest, I missed the hit. That's how far away from the puck it was.
I did as well. That puck was all the way down the ice, and Middendorf looked to be grabbing his head, so you wonder if head contact might be the call. It's E.J. Paddington that's going to the penalty box as the officials convene.
Referee Schumacher, who is a longtime veteran. As I pull up the rest of the officiating crew.
And we didn't talk about it early in this game, but this has been chippy from the get-go. You saw Adam Mahler with some late pushing and shoving. A 2-minute minor was just signaled by Schumacher, and boarding was the call.
Casey Schumacher and Kenny McCaughey wearing the orange armbands, helped out by Braden Meyer and AJ Kofstead on the lines.
And
I would say draw will just be to the Toros will put it to the right of Solomon.
Officiating was a factor last weekend, right? You didn't see very many calls Friday, just 4 penalties between both sides, but 14 on Saturday.
Toros go to the power play. This is Yohala, drops it down low for Batten. Batten up top for Mahler. Mahler comes across for Spencer. Spencer drops to the goal line, and O'Hannesson right back to Spencer at the hash marks. He'll sweep up top for Adam Mahler. Mahler looking for a lane, doesn't have one, gives to O'Hannesson. O'Hannesson shot hits a leg, caroms to Yohala at the side of the net. Spence just got dumped nowhere near the puck. Eventually it's taken away and thrown the distance. Interestingly, Gavin Middendorf had been on this power play unit the last few weeks. Obviously after that hit not out there, Billy Batten jumps into his spot, but until Middendorf had joined this unit, it was Billy Batten's spot.
And Middendorf is putting his helmet back on, still on the bench. It looks like he's all right, perhaps just taking a breather for a shift or two.
An awkward bounce off the boards almost caught Lucas out of the net. That would have been a terrible way for the Bruins to tie this game. John Small from the red line dumps it in. Middendorf right back out there. Lets it go, and it's taken away. 2-on-1 rush if the Bruins hurry. Toros do a good job getting back. Long shot sashayed away by Swedin. And now the Toros have 2 Bruins caught deep. Can they take advantage? Noah Gibbs speeds up the ice, hits the line, and lost the handle. Noah Gibbs turning on the near side, guides it back to Small. Small sends it back for Mindorf. Mindorf behind the net, flushed out by Hirschfeld. Tui slowly up the ice, comes to the near side, and John Small. Small will dump it again. 20 ticks left to talk. On the first Western Bank and Trust power plays, the Toros will set it up. Maybe. Mindorf pressured, the puck taken away, and the Toros will have to retreat and retrieve. Just 10 seconds left on the man advantage.
And this has been a stellar Austin Bruins penalty kill, 8 for 8 now in this series, but they're 28 for their last 28.
Turned over, Savates, an aggressive play by Swedin, but he wins the race to that puck and is able to chip it out to neutral. Bruins are full strength now, and they look to attack on the far side. Shot blocked by Nichols, who then delivers a good hit into Luke Malkasian.
And Davin Nichols and the Austin Bruins have history. Nichols
we saw some
involved
of it in the intro video tonight.
Nichols involved in 2 fights, one which came back in December and one that came on March 21st, the first of that 4-game stretch against the Austin Bruins in March. Nichols and Shaver dropped the gloves. Both players got tossed. Shaver not in the lineup for Austin tonight, but Nichols has been out there all 3 games for the Toros.
Draw to the right of Swedin. Edwards to take it against Lipset. Lipset wins it sideways. Long shot from the point, blocked wide off traffic. First to it is Edwards. Edwards sweeps over to Mahler. Mahler looks across. He finds Nichols. Nichols evades and then looks across. The pass was just behind Adam Mahler. Puck now chipped to the Toro zone. Fleming on it. Fleming chased by Beckwith, but loses him behind the net. Hands off near side Ramirez. Ramirez chips it in. Melgren played the body. Bynum turns it over to Edwards behind the net. Edwards trying to work it to the front. He does, but the Toros had gone for a change. Jordan Gibbs coming on that change, finds it, tries his shot, blocked out front. Gibbs freeing it up, but he couldn't quite settle it down. Beckwith able to find it back himself and carries ahead. Dumps out to neutral. Lipset will send it the rest of the way down into the Toro zone. Toros find Batten. Batten into the middle for Yohala. Couldn't catch it cleanly. And now it's thrown down the ice. Arm is up. This will go for an icing. Yes, it will. So the Bruins won't be able to change. Draw will come back into the offensive zone.
Shots now favor the Austin Bruins 4-1. As we mentioned, Toros should have at least 2 up there as Billy Batten's goal came off the rebound. But that was the only sequence in which the Toros got shots on net. But the Toros have still had some good looks. They've taken the puck away beyond the goal line deep in the Bruins zone, and they're looking out in front. They just haven't been able to redirect one more on net.
This is touched out to neutral. Jordan Gibbs tries to dump it back in. It doesn't work. Johannesson finds the loose puck. Yohala flips across to the near side, dumped in by Gibbs. Thrown to the far side. Batten can't find the handle. Lorenza plays it backwards. Far side, Yohala again pokes it free, but eventually it gets through to Paddington. Paddington gets hit by Lindorf, a little bit of revenge. Backside, fought off by Swedes on the league's leading scorer, Alex Lorenza.
And that was a good look for Lorenza. Svedin looked a little bit uncomfortable there, but on that type of chance, all you're trying to do is stop that puck from getting by.
Bruins start back up ice. Lund with a shot. Save made by Swedes rather easily. Near side, Clark. Clark sweeps ahead for Small. Small finds Mindorf. Mindorf into the zone working on Lund. Shot saved with the blocker, and the rebound punted 200 feet, which will be another icing. Icing's brought to you by our friends at
Minot's Finest Collision Center. And you think about that goal, going back to it for Billy Batten, his second of the postseason. He had one on Friday out in Austin. And once again, this is a guy who didn't necessarily have the hottest finish to the season. 1 goal over the final 11 games of the regular season. But you never know who's going to step up in the postseason. And yeah, he was one of those top 6 guys on the year, puts up 20 goals, but most of them came toward the start of the year.
Far side. Spencer can't find the handle on the draw, and it's rolled out to neutral. Svetessin chips it deep into the Toro zone. He and Mahler come together. Mahler ties him up behind the net. Puck still loose back there. Svetessin gets it back. They continue to dig along the end wall. Far side, they still joust. Small against Hirschfeld. Bruins' Jackson Riley takes over as they try to work a cycle. Now they'll try the near side instead. Svetessin dumped down hard by Fleming. Small gives it back to Flem. Flem chips it up, and then Svetessin took a run at Fleming, and Fleming got the better of him again. Meanwhile, in neutral, Albert. Jitterbug move at the blue line, puts his teammate Evan Malkisen offside, and it brings us to our first period media timeout with the Toros leading 1-0.
A good start for the Toros. And once again, you see shots 6-2, but it feels like the Toros have had the majority of the pressure down in the Bruins zone. And so far, game 3, so far so good for the Toros.
Yeah, shots right now credit is 6-2, but again, I think the Toros are owed one more shot, but 6-3 not ideal either to be getting doubled up, but the good news is the Toros lead by 1, and I don't feel like the play has been that much more to our right.
No, it's very different than last Saturday was 20-7, and you really felt it early in that game where that game was played in the Toros' defensive zone for the vast majority of the period. But here you see a lot of back and forth, a lot of transition time in the neutral ice as both sides have been able to push into their attacking zones.
I do think a couple of those shots on Swedes were dump-ins from neutral ice that went on net as well. So technically a shot on goal, but not something that was particularly difficult. I think the one grade A chance was the Lorenza chance that Swedes got with the blocker.
And we expected a defensive series, and that's what we've gotten so far, right? 3-1 game on Friday with an empty netter, and then on Saturday, 1-1 into overtime.
Far side, Bruins let it roll to the point. Albert hands down to the half wall. Battle going on in front. Toros, oh, they're not going to be shorthanded as Lorenza got hauled down, and he's frustrated. I agree, Alex. And that was played with a high stick. Ty James finds it, guides it up the wall. Jousts with Lorenza. And eventually the Bruins chip it deep into the Toro zone. It's Ruza. Ruza rings it to the near side. There's no one home at the point for the Bruins. So they'll have to retreat and retrieve all the way from back in their own end. That allows the Toros to get a fresh 5 over the wall. Jordan Gibbs pokes it free. Noah Gibbs leaves for Owens. Owens tried to hand to Jordan Gibbs, but it didn't work. Toros are being forced backwards. Tui with a good spin move on the near side, pokes it up the wall. Owens takes a hit to make a play out to Jockums. Jockums into the zone. He has Noah Gibbs driving the back post. The pass was tipped in behind the net. Puck thrown out to neutral. Jordan Gibbs ahead. Tries to chip it into the zone. It doesn't work, and now they'll scrum along the near wall. Ahead, Chuck Owens touches it into the zone. He'll go for a change. Jockums and Noah Gibbs stay under pressure. Melgren throws up the far wall. Pass finds Paddington in neutral. Paddington over the blue line. Working on Fleming. Goes down. Trying to draw a call. Meanwhile, turned over. Loose puck in front. Where is it? Hacked at. Save made. And then O'Hannesson took it behind the net. Bruins find it there, though. This is Paddington, worked over by Fleming. Help comes from Hirschfeld, turning off Yohala. Hirschfeld will bring it back to the point. Batten tried to cut it off, but he missed. Sprates down into the corner. Hirschfeld can't find it. Yohala does. Yohala, a soft chip for O'Hannesson. Starts the Toros back on the attack. O'Hannesson gets upended, and that one will get called. Pretty hard to argue that one. The player's stick was caught in the legs, and it stayed with O'Hannesson despite Sprates skating in a different direction. 2-minute trip, Toros back to the power play.
And that was the last thing that the Austin Bruins needed to do, a slow start, and the Toros with the chance to tack on one more. Toros now 0 for 9 after failing to convert on that first power play.
Toros were 22.22%. That was 4th in the league in the regular season. At a certain point, you have to feel like this power play is going to break through. And when it does, it'll get hot. Up top for Spencer. Spencer gives to Yohala. Quick shot. Save made. Rebound to the near side and O'Hannesson. O'Hannesson plays it in behind. Yohala finds it. Yohala tries to hand to Spencer. Stick chopped out of his hands. Delayed call coming when the Bruins touch. It'll be a 5-on-3 for 1:41.
Wow. 1:41 is a long time to go to the 5-on-3 for the Toros. A lack of discipline being shown here early in the first period by the Austin Bruins. This is Ashton Bynum for slashing. And Ian Spencer lost his stick. You saw him look up at the official immediately. He got the call.
You can't chop the stick out of the guy's hand. It's a rule I hate. I've talked about it before. If you chop a stick and it breaks, it's a slash. To me, if a guy just lets go of his stick, that's on him. But that is the rule. It'll be enforced. And the Toros, a long 5-on-3. They eventually dig the draw out and play it up top for Mahler. Mahler gives to Yohala, shot sails wide. Johannesson finds the rebound, gives it down low. Spence will just ring it in behind for Batten. Batten given some space, he'll give to Yohala up top for Mahler. Back to Yohala. Yohala drops to the side of the net. Batten looking for a lane, instead goes up top Mahler. One-timer doesn't go. Yohala. Back to Mahler. A minute 11 on the 5-on-3. Up top for Mahler again, gives the Yohala one-timer save made. Rebound eventually ends up back towards Solomon. He's able to cover with a minute 5 left in the 5-on-3. And it looks like Cody Campbell opting to stay with this unit.
Aggressive play by Solomon, moving out of his crease to cover up that puck. We talked earlier about how it was Billy Batten on this first power play due to the early Gavin Middendorf injury in this game. Middendorf came back out onto the ice, but Cody Campbell is sticking with Billy Batten on this first power play unit.
Draw will be to the left of Solomon. Neither side opted to change. Toros won the draw, but it eluded Adam Mahler, so the Toros will have to retreat. Still 56 seconds left in the 5-on-3 as Mahler comes ahead. Gives to Batten, who gains the line. Batten tries to drop it back. It was blocked off, but he gets help from Spencer. Batten and Spencer working behind the net. It comes out front for Johannesson. He'll play up top for Mahler. Mahler shot off the post. Rebound loose in front, and it's hacked the distance.
And I think Toros fans thought that one might have gone momentarily. We didn't have the angle to see the puck after the save by Solomon from here.
This is Mahler with a shot save made. Rebound trickles through. Yohala from a tough angle doesn't get it to go. He was trying to bank it off the goaltender, and it was blocked. Meanwhile, the Toros bench checking the iPads. They might think that that went in as well. This is Spencer rolling it in for Adam Mahler. Shot blocked to the corner and then cleared all the way down.
Jack Solomon has been tremendous through the 5-on-3 as the Bruins gain a skater back. 16 seconds on the 5-on-4. As they tried to bank it off Solomon, he kept his eyes up and was able to get it with the glove.
Mindorf fights through, has it poked off his stick by Elbert. Bruins find the puck. Thrown out to neutral, Bruins come full strength. This is Jockham's turning with it. Jockham's forced down low. Noah Gibbs can't find the loose puck. Lorenza draws a trip on Noah Gibbs, and the Toros will go to the Papa John's PK as Gibbs goes to the box with exactly 5 minutes remaining here in period number 1. I was going to say whenever the next whistle came that you expect the Toros have had 3 power plays this period at some point. The Bruins will get one. Not cashing in for the Toros means they absolutely have to get these kills.
And that's a tough sequence for the Toros. Up 1-0, you have 1 minute and 41 seconds of a 5-on-3 with 19 seconds to follow of 5-on-4, and you feel very good about where you're at in the first period. But now, just moments later, still a 1-goal lead, and now you're down a man.
Bruins control the draw. It's Luke Malkasian, tries a shot save made by Swedin. Paddington finds the rebound on the near side. He goes up top for Bynum. Bynum tries a shot save made. Rebound loose in front. Poked back. Paddington finds it. Shot blocked, and then Small pokes it to the wall. Lorenza on the far side, trying to fight through. He does. He's forced in behind the net. Lorenza looks up top. Bynum looks side of the net. One-timer off the crossbar. Follow-up try put off the outside of the net. Adam Mahler finds the puck, and it gets a clear. Toros can get a change. Bruins gain the line off a good feed from Solomon all the way up to the Toro blue line. Back to the point in Bynum. Bynum throws one through traffic. It caroms to the corner instead. Side of the net, Paddington. Pressured by Clark. He'll give it up top for Bynum. Bynum down to the circle. Shot blocker saved through traffic by Swedin. Lorenza put it to the side of the net. It was mishandled there, and Hubert Clark able to get the clear. Lorenza with some clear frustration, slamming his stick on the ice as he goes back to the bench. Up on the pressure is Chuck Owens. That's going to create a turnover. Batten on it first, shovels it to the middle, and Owens is broken up. Evan Malkasian plays ahead. Carried in by Hirschfeld. Hirschfeld harassed along the wall, gives to Mahler. who he thought was his own teammate, and Mahler sends it 200 feet. Half a minute left on the Papa John's PK for the Toros. Carried ahead by the Bruins. This is Williams into the zone. Williams tries a shot, blocked by Jordan Gibbs to the far corner. Spencer swipes at it, takes it away, flicks ahead. Evan Malkasian tried to glove it down. Instead, it was John Small able to punch it out to neutral. Melgren into the zone, looking back. Good stick by Spence. Tips it out to neutral ice. Toros full strength in 2. Thrown ahead to the Toro blue line. Good stick by Jordan Gibbs. Finds Noah Gibbs coming out of the box. Noah Gibbs, fresh out of the box, tries a shot. Stick save, rebound to the near side wall. Hoisted down the ice. It ends up in the penalty boxes. Bruins will not be allowed to change, treated as an icing. 2:48 left to go in period number 1. Shots 11-8 in favor of the Bruins, but it's the Toros who lead 1-0.
A very strong penalty kill for the Toros, a group that was just over 85% in the regular season, 15th in the NAHL. Aggressive. You saw a lot of good sticks forcing the puck back out to neutral. Bruins didn't get much going.
Well, and that PK was top 5 until maybe the last 3 weeks of the season, when it suddenly became the Toros couldn't kill any penalty for about 3 weeks. Obviously that problem, at least thus far, solved in the playoffs. Side of the net, good stick by Jack O'Hannison, frees the puck up. Lorenza turning on the near side. Back to the point in Lund. Lund with a shot that goes well wide. Rebound to the far side. O'Hannison pokes it out to neutral for Batten. Batten settles down the puck, looks to cut into the middle, but it's poked away nicely by Lund. Far side, Lorenza looks across for Luke Malkasian. Clark gains the zone. Clark rings it to the far side. Ian Spencer takes over there, sweeps it into the near corner. Flicked ahead into the Toro zone. This is Clark. Banks to the near side, glass and out for the Toros. Dumped right back in by the Bruins, though. Out of his net to stop is Swedin. Lorenza just upended Spencer, and look out. Puck out of play. And now Lipset and Lorenza are going after Ian Spencer. Some clear frustration. The league's leading scorer has been held off the score sheet the entire series. And he went after the Toros' leading scorer, Ian Spencer.
And now the officials are taking Spencer to the box for matching penalties.
Xander Lipset and Ian Spencer, 2-minute roughs, will go 4 aside.
We'll see if we have that replay. And it does look like Spencer and Lorenza started to throw at the same time. I'm a little surprised they took Lipset, who came in after, rather than
I think
Lorenza.
Cody Campbell's argument is you call the matching penalties on Lorenza and Spencer, and then there should be an extra penalty on Lipset.
And even if you don't tag Lipset, it should be matching between Lorenza and Spencer.
Right, because at least then you're taking both teams' leading scores. You're leaving the league's leading scorer available to the Bruins, but taking away the Toros' leading scorer from them. Four on four, draw to the left of Swedin. Bynum, quick shot off the draw, blocked up and over. Mahler was dumped down on the face-off play, but he's back up now. Yohala dumps this into the offensive zone. Bynum's back on it first. Bynum. Near side, they give to Evan Malkasian. His toss across for Albert is off the mark. Albert had to retreat to gather, and then he plays across to Bynum. Bynum looks up ice. Hirschfeld sweeps to the far side, and Albert, who gains the line, working on Middendorf. Shot blocked by Middendorf. Final minute of period number 1. Toros lead 1-0. Final minute brought to you by our friends at Northern Plains Equipment. Yohala hit hard. Mahler steps in, and Yohala takes it away. He gives to Middendorf. Middendorf has Mahler with him 3-on-2 as the Toros at the line. Middendorf feeds for Yohala. Shot save made. No rebound given. Mahler was on the backside looking for a feed. Yohala, I think, was trying to create a rebound, and just unfortunately for him, the puck stuck in the pads of Solomon.
And that's a nifty move by Middendorf to pull it back and then feed Yahala on the far side to give him an open shot. But overall, Ken, I'd say this has been an Austin Bruins team that has not looked like they're down to their very final game. They haven't come out as strong as maybe we were expecting. A lot of physicality, but they haven't been pushing pucks toward the net in the same way they were last weekend.
Thrown out front for Jordan Gibbs, it doesn't go. It was John Small who created the play. Toros defenseman getting aggressive in this 4-on-4. Jordan Gibbs make that Ty James working down low, 2, not 3. James throws it to the corner for Small. Small trying to fight off Lund, but help came from Williams. Mindorf pressuring there. Ty James steps up. Puck freed up. Mindorf delays. Tries to feed Small in the corner. Small trying to get it to Jordan Gibbs in front. It didn't connect. And Gibbs couldn't get to the puck. This is Beckwith. 2 seconds left. And the horn sounds to end the period. Toros lead 1-0. We'll have 26 seconds of carryover 4-on-4, and Lipset and Spencer jawing at each other as they leave the penalty boxes to head to their respective benches. Didn't see a ton of fight from the Bruins between the whistles, but outside of the whistles, they've been feisty.
This seems like a team that, rather than fighting, being down to their very final game, win or go home the rest of the way for the Austin Bruins, it seems like a team that's more frustrated rather than anything else, and that's why you've seen 4 penalties in the first period, a board, a trip, a slash, and a rough. Toros with 2 penalties of their own, of course, the Spencer and Lipset penalties offset. But overall, Toros take a 1-0 lead to the break, and I think if you're Cody Campbell, you feel pretty good about the pace of play and the control of the puck over the first 20 minutes.
Yeah, not much you can be upset about if you're a Toro fan. A 1-0 lead, a 2-game lead in the series, but we'll send it down to the ice, and Lauren Hill is with Billy Batten.
All right, Toros fans, I'm here with Billy Batten for the Farmers Union Insurance intermission interview. You scored our first goal tonight, let alone also the first period goal of this series. Can you walk us through that play?
Yeah, so Jesse got the puck out wide, made a nice play to Jack, and I was there for the rebound and got a nice little tap in.
All right, we are up 2-0 in this series. What is it going to take to get the win tonight?
Yeah, we knew they were going to come out hard, and we just got to match their energy and now start giving our push back. I think we can be a little bit better, so we'll bring that in the second period.
All right, thank you, Billy.
Lauren Hill with Billy Batten, and now back in the broadcast booth here at the Pepsi rink is Edward Neiman. Edward, you were here the first half of the year, but what have you thought from the first 20 minutes of Game 3?
I thought the Toros did a good job. You know, it's a tale of oldest time, right, with this Austin Bruins team. You know they're going to come out physical. You know they're going to come out, trying to impose their will. But I thought the Toros did a good job answering that, right? I think along the boards did a nice job finishing their checks and, of course, getting the early goal to get this crowd into it. So I think overall a really solid period here for the Toros in a closeout game.
And you mentioned the Bruins coming out physical, and you knew that was going to happen. But as me and Ken talked about toward the end of the period, I think it's a Bruins team that looked more frustrated than it did charged up and trying to take a game on their last legs. And you saw that from the penalties, right? A trip and a slash that were not necessary. They weren't preventing the Toros from getting to the net and taking those penalties. Toros couldn't convert, but I think it shows you the mentality that the Bruins came out with tonight.
Yeah, and I think, just going on the extra man advantage itself, puts a lot of pressure on Solomon in net, gets him uncomfortable. And if that's happening here in the first period, I think that bodes well for the Toros in the long run. Fatigue's always a thing, too, with the Bruins, right? They play that physical style of hockey. If you can continue to push the pace and, show that speed advantage that the Toros have on a lot of teams, I think that will, do them greatly as we get down into the deep end of this one.
And I think the Toros kind of on the rush. You look at that first goal, it's a great look on the right side, and there's not much Solomon can do. Billy Batten gets the rebound, has a wide open net. And the other thing to watch is the Toros switched power play units to begin this game. Last weekend, it was Gavin Middendorf up with that top line, and I'm not sure if the game plan coming into this one was that Batten was back with the unit or if it was caused by the Gavin Middendorf injury early in the period, but nonetheless, we saw Batten playing with that unit, and I think despite going 0 for 3, this is the best the Toros power play has looked in the postseason.
Yeah, and this Bruins penalty kill was really strong down the stretch of the regular season. Toros, I think, do a nice job, though, at least, forcing the pressure on that. And Billy Batten, a guy the Toros kind of missed in those last couple of games in the regular season. Great to have him back, and already he's showing, why he's such a big part of this Toros team.
And I think you saw that right away out in Austin. And Billy Batten down the stretch was really an assist guy between Jesse Yahala and Jack O'Hannesson. He did have 20 goals this season. Most of them came at the start of the year. You put Chuck Owens in that group, and it just didn't look the same, and that's nothing against Chuck Owens, but that's a line that's played together all season long, and you take it apart, and I think it just took a little bit out of that group, but right away, it didn't feel like he missed a beat to start the postseason.
Yeah, I would agree with that. You always just wonder, when guys miss some games with their line mates and, things get shuffled up, how long it's going to take them to adjust and get back to it. But, of course, here to start the playoffs, that line has looked great.
I know I was looking around the NAHL before we started this game, and we'll hit you some full scoreboard action later in this Forebears Casino and Lodge intermission report. But the Bismarck Bobcats are up 2-1 on the Aberdeen Wings early in the second period there. I think a lot of people were surprised to see the Wings take a 2-0 lead last weekend in 2 close overtime games, but the Bobcats starting hot on the road in Game 3.
Yeah, and that series has been tremendous so far. Obviously, the back-to-back overtime games at the VFW, you got to credit Aberdeen for getting 2 wins. That team has looked really, really good, perhaps one of the best teams in the Central Division this last calendar month. But Bismarck's still a dangerous team, right? They get 1 here tonight. All of a sudden, tomorrow night game is very interesting, especially for Aberdeen to try to avoid going back up to Bismarck.
And I think a big part of those first 2 wins is the Wings goaltender, Damon Cunningham. And all 4 of these playoff teams in the Central Division have very strong goaltenders. The Austin Bruins have 2. They have Jack Solomon and Carl Axelson. Toros with Lucas Vedin. Cunningham with the Wings. Anderson with the Bobcats. You saw a 0-0 game going into overtime there. I think that tells the story.
Yeah, Central Division hockey at its best, right? It comes down to skill and, some aggression. And, that's definitely on display in that series as well.
And let's talk about Lucas Vedin a little bit. Toros get outshot in the first period. Should have had that up before I started to say that. Toros get outshot in the first period, 11-9. Lucas Vedin makes another 11 saves. 83 saves last weekend, lets up 2 goals. So you do the math, that's now 94 letting up 2 goals. My goodness, Vedin has been fantastic. And it's reminiscent back to that 13-game win streak at the start of the 2025 calendar year.
Yes, Vedin was a tremendous part of this this Toros team in the last year's playoff run to the Robertson Cup semifinals, and more of the same. Obviously, Lucas Vedin always aggressive in net despite that small size, but he's looked great to start this playoff run, and I think that's really exciting as a Toros fan to watch once again on display for another year.
And I think it's really important that you mentioned that he's a part of that playoff run last season. He's been in this spot before. He played 4 of the 9 games for the Toros. He was 3-1, gives up 2.31 goals per game. Save percentage, .901, so not up to Lucas Vedin's standards. But still, giving up just over 2 a game. Solid stuff from Vedin, but it has also felt a little bit different. At the start of the year, you felt like Lucas Vedin was Superman on half of those nights, making highlight reel saves, but this series, it's felt like the Toros' defense has stepped up, and Lucas Vedin hasn't needed to make as many of those miraculous saves. It's been much more in the way of routine saves for Vedin.
Yeah, Toros' defense, I think, has been doing a nice job getting to the front of the net, breaking up a lot of those Bruins opportunities. The Bruins like to force a lot of traffic in front of that net and make it tough for goaltenders to get an eye on the puck, but the Toros' defense has done a nice job mitigating that, and I think that's a great adjustment that they made from the regular season into the postseason against this Austin team.
And that's a testament to the coaching, right? You look at head coach Cody Campbell, and those last 4 games, you can throw away the 2 against the Bismarck Bobcats because you're resting players. You want to get ready for the postseason. But getting swept on the road at Aberdeen in the way that they did, that was an ugly 7-2 loss. That's Saturday. Then you rest your players, and you wonder, is this how they're going to come out in the playoffs? And you knew right away from the jump Game 1 in Austin that this Toros team was back and ready to play. And Cody Campbell is showing why he's one of the best in the business.
Absolutely, and that's something that we've known Cody Campbell for, and you can't take for granted, right? In the playoff series, it's all about making adjustments, getting better on the margins, and the Toros have done that so far in this postseason run.
And looking at that first period, just to hit the box score, power play, Toros 0 for 3, Austin 0 for 1. Neither team has converted on the power play. Billy Batten, Jack Ohanneson, and Jesse Yahala pick up the assists. Ohanneson, his first point of the postseason. Yahala, number 2, after that terrific overtime winner back in Austin. But I think it's good to see those 3 players get on the board as good as they've been all year. You look at the plus-minus category, and it was a little bit slow down the stretch. Jack Ohanneson hasn't been in the positive since March 8th, and when I was looking at that stat line, I was shocked to see it. But I still think that they've been playing well on the ice. It's just that every team is matching up their top line with Yahala, Ohanneson, and Batten.
Yeah, and I think, you do have some sort of confidence, too, with some of those returners like Ohanneson coming back for another postseason run that they'll, eventually start to kind of, improve at least in the plus-minus category with their line mates. And I think, you have a lot of confidence in that line after last weekend. And, of course, already starting tonight's game on with a bang.
And how can you not have confidence in Jack Ohanneson?
Yeah.
I mean, the active point leader in the NAHL, there's very few players that are more experienced than he is in junior hockey. But you look around the lineup, we talked about Lucas Vadin. He got to play in the playoffs with the Toros last year, and that's true of all the returners. Ian Spencer, this is now his second postseason with the Torrens. Even Chuck Owens, who got here at the end of last year. But it's not just that. The Toros have experience through their charts. Billy Batten gets to play in the playoffs in the AJHL. You keep going down the line. Landon Fleming, I mean, he's played with the Capitals, the Bobcats, the Warriors. This is a team with experience, and I think that is on full display here in round 1. All right, well, we will get to a commercial break. When we come back, we're going to check around the NAHL, take a look at the brackets, and see what is going on. Stay tuned here on the Forebears Casino and Lodge Intermission Report.
Our history sets us on our path. From the moment we're born, we began our walk through life. We learn so we can discover. We find our passion and develop our skills. We build relationships. And we start thinking about what we're going to leave behind to those we love. Let our legacy help shape yours. First International Bank and Trust. No matter your place in life, we can help you live first. As far as what Plains Egg has to offer, great pay along with some of the best benefits that I've seen in the job market. The company understands the importance of family and family values. You need to have that time with your children. Plains Egg is 100% family oriented. I love working here. Very helpful. There's no problem it feels like we can't solve when we're working together. Go to plainsegg.com, fill out the application, and we'll be in touch with you shortly.
Circle Sanitation is a locally owned family business providing quality waste hauling services since 1980. We provide service to residential and commercial customers, as well as roll-off service for large projects and construction sites. We are dedicated to providing excellent service at competitive prices without deceptive contracts or hidden fees. For more on what Circle Sanitation can do for you, call us or visit circlesanitation.com.
The puck, the light, the crowd, the moment, the chance to make history. Just like that perfect play, we're here to help you win at your financial game. At Great River Federal Credit Union, we offer competitive rates and innovative technology designed to empower you to achieve your goals. Become a member of Great River and score a $100 bonus on our list promo code Hockey100. Visit greatriverfco.org/Hockey100 for details and open our account. Member NCAA.
We've been in business for over 25 years. We've learned a lot about why local matters, unlike those guys. We take pride in our work and back our tires with our Plus Plan guarantee to get the most out of your tires' lifespan. Are the tires the same size on all sides? We strive to provide great value to our guests and lowest prices guaranteed. That's not good. Stop at a trusted tire and auto and get a set of tires from people you know and trust and will even match those guys.
and spirit like the family farmer. Year after year, they continue to work the land and plant their crops. Through droughts, floods, and uncertain markets, they keep that spirit alive with another crop harvested for the next generation. And for that, we tip our hats to them. Farmers Union Insurance, protecting those that protect America's food source.
The Lamplighter is Minot's premier liquor store. Whether you're looking for wine, cold beer, or a fine bourbon, stop in and browse our selection, or make a quick stop at our convenient drive-thru. The Lamplighter Lounge and Liquor Store.
Since 1977, Northwest Tires been your partner on the road for over 30 years. People have put their trust in our quality brand tires and expert service on the roads and in the fields for work, play, and travel. Northwest Tire, keeping you rolling down the road.
Welcome back to the Four Bears Casino and Lodge Intermission Report. Evan Epstein back alongside Edward Neiman back in the Magic City for the weekend, as it's time to take a look around the playoff, around the postseason. And here it is, starting out east, the Rochester Junior Americans came into today up 2-0. They trailed 3-2 at the second intermission against the Johnstown Tomahawks. The Maine Nordiques and the Maryland Black Bears tied at 1 in their series, and that game is scoreless through 2 periods. Toros played the Black Bears in the semifinals of the Robertson Cup last year. Edward, I believe you were there for that game. Am I mistaken?
I was not there, but I was tuned into all of those games. Another good season though by Maryland. I really like that Maryland-Maine series here out east. I think that's one of the better series in the playoffs here. I'm interested to see how that one turns out. Maine, another team that made a deep run last year in the playoffs. So I think 2 really evenly matched teams once again this year.
We'll keep it moving and going into the There it is, the central portion of the bracket. Of course, the Toros have a 2-0 lead, but the Aberdeen Wings also with the 2-0 lead. However, the Bobcats are out to a 2-1 lead down at the Odie, both sides with a goal in the first. And then in the second, Jakub Kopecky, just 32 seconds in, gives the Bobcats a lead there. Well, sticking there for now, we'll just take a look at scores around the division. So in the Midwest, the Wisconsin Wendigo with the Chippewa Steel. That series is even at 1. The Wendigo are up 2-1 on the Steel right now. Wendigo put 2 goals on the board in the first. Steel trying to claw their way back. Shots even, 16 aside, as there it is up on your screen. Anchorage with a 2-0 series lead over Fairbanks. Me and Ken finally found out what time Alaska Standard Time is. It's 3 hours behind Minot here in the Central Time Zone, the very west side of the Central Time Zone. Nice to see it getting dark around 9 o'clock at night. That'll be interesting to watch, because if Anchorage does move on to the semifinals with the Toros, there's a scenario that is fairly likely, assuming Lone Star also moves to the semifinals, that the Wolverines would end up playing the Toros in the semifinals. Semifinals, of course, best of 3, and then the championship, a 1-game series. Lone Star Brahmas, a sweep over the New Mexico Ice Wolves, and the Corpus Christi Ice Rays, a sweep over the Shreveport Mudbugs. So the South wasting no time to decide who will move on to round 2.
Yeah, that South semifinal series there is going to be pretty interesting. I guess the South final series, I should say, will be another interesting one. Lone Star, of course, as we talked about earlier, another team that has, much like Maryland, has that prior experience of last year in Corpus Christi, a fantastic first-round series as a 3-seed, winning 2 games on the road in Shreveport and then finishing off at home in Texas on a quick turnaround, too. Like we talked about, the South, they waste no time. So another good series brewing there in the playoffs.
And the other reason that series is just so interesting is because of that massacre out in Lone Star. You saw over 700 penalty minutes in a game. You saw a clipboard thrown from one bench to another. Absolute madness. A couple of line brawls in that game, which Once you get to the postseason,
Hey, anything goes.
tensions are
Anything
heightened,
goes, yeah.
and I think that's going to make for a terrific series down south. And that will just about do it for us on the Forebears Casino and Lodge Intermission Report. Back to the game. Bruins outshoot the Toros 11-9, but Edward, I feel like the Toros really controlled the flow of the game in that first period, and I think they had just as much possession time in the Bruins' defensive zone, despite putting up just 9 shots.
Yeah, and of course, you would like to get, you would have liked to put one in the back of the net on the extra man advantage, but having those opportunities early, like we talked about, frustration starting to build for Austin, so expect more of those. And the Toros, with one of the better power play units in the Central Division, I expect them to find one if they get a few more opportunities.
35 seconds of 4-on-4 hockey remaining between these two teams, and we talk about the Austin Bruins being the bigger, maybe more physical team, but once you get to 4-on-4, that probably favors the Toros. A little bit smaller, a little bit faster, a little bit more elusive, and we'll see as play moves down the ice. So that will do it on the Forebears Casino and Lodge Intermission Report. Edward Neiman will trade places with Ken Oda. Ken, good to have you back and rolling here for period number 2. 35 seconds of 4-on-4 hockey remain as Ian Spencer and Xander Lipset will return to the box. And as me and Edward just discussed, 4-on-4 should favor the Toros, a little bit of a smaller and faster team.
The speed for the Toros certainly helps. I will say not having Ian Spencer for the 4-on-4 maybe evens it up a little bit. Obviously the Toros leading point man, but also one of the faster Toros. So losing Ian Spencer for 4-on-4, not ideal, but I mean, look at this group. Yohala with Billy Batten, Adam Mahler, and Fleming behind him. I imagine it'll be Ty James and Jordan Gibbs up next on the back end with John Small and Gavin Middendorf. That's certainly not a slow lineup either, right?
Middendorf's speed was something that really stuck out as soon as he got to Minot. First game came back on December 31st against the Bobcats. Got off to an electric start.
Bruins control off the draw. Yohala tips it away. Williams finds it behind the Bruin net. He gives to Evan Malkasian, who turns behind the net, gives to Williams. All right. And eventually the Bruins will start up. It's Elbert. Elbert, watched by Billy Batten, gains the line, passed off to Adam Mahler. Mahler directs him into the wall, and now it's chipped ahead just as the teams come full strength. Toros have numbers. They hit the blue line. It's Yohala. Yohala looks across. Good stick by Williams. Breaks that up, and now the Bruins try to counter. It's ahead for Lorenza. He couldn't catch it cleanly. Adam Mahler does. And he guides it in behind the Toros net. Fleming has trouble there, but Mahler helps out. Guides it to the far side, and Batten. Batten finds Yohala. Yohala has Spencer with him. Leaves it for Spence. The trailer is Mahler. Spence hooked down. Shot doesn't go for Yohala. He was partially checked. Gavin Middendorf coming on a change. Frees the puck up. Yohala working in the corner. Middendorf lets it roll back to the point, and Tui. Tui hands to Spencer. Spencer across for Middendorf. Middendorf shot. Missed wide. He was looking high on the blocker's side. There was room. He just missed it.
And that's a good pass from Spencer back across his body. He was able,
as the Toros almost skate that into their own net.
Able to pull the defender away, gives Middendorf a little bit of space near side, and a good look.
We see you all checking in on social. I know we haven't gotten to you. Haven't been a ton of whistles so far in this contest other than penalties, which required explanation. But we're glad to have you all aboard here on a Friday night as the Toros look for the series sweep. Puck rolled around to the far side. Bruins control up top to the point. D-to-D, near side Bynum. Long shot sails wide. Poked along the wall. O'Hannison hands it back to John Small. Small pressured, plays to the near side in Tui. Tui uses the glass to bank that ahead. It gets as far as the Bruin blue line, but Lund is on it there. Lund gains the red and rolls it into the Toro zone. Swedes out of his net. Throws to the far side. Awkward Karamov extension leads to a turnover, but the puck fired wide. Middendorf on the near side. Tries to jam it up the wall, but Paddington dumps it right back in. Throw it out to neutral again, where Small is met by Paddington. Beckwith finds it, rolls it deep. Swedes out of his net to stop. And now he'll just throw it along the glass to the far side. Noah Gibbs fights through and then comes across for John Small. Small into the zone, delays. Looks for the trailer. There was none there, and the Bruins will go the other way. Williams dumps it in. Behind Ty James, Hubert Clark over to gather. Clark leaves it behind for James. James up the wall. Touched into the zone by Small. Noah Gibbs poking at it. They roll deep. Small finally to the bench looking to complete the change. Melgren up the far wall. Chopped out of midair by Noah Gibbs. Bruins take it back. Jochum's pressuring. Williams finds it first. Williams throws it up the wall and out of play for a whistle. 16:48 left to go here in period number 1. Let's get to some social check-ins. Laura Schneiber-Bruns checking in from Highway 83 while returning from Mayo. They're tuned in. From Mokina, Illinois, it's Taya Swanson-Spencer. Braden Tews is aboard from down in Mandan. Darlene Edwards from Ontario, Canada. And Spencer watching here at the Mesa. Kim Bartel is in Bozeman. Eliza Clark watching in Norway House. Toros win the draw, but it splits the defense, and they'll have to retreat 200 feet to get it. Near side, it's O'Hannison. His pass ahead is off the mark, but Batten catches the carom and gains the line. He's walled off by London. The puck rolled in behind the Bruin net. Hirschfeld has trouble. O'Hannison down the boards for Yohala. Yohala's pinned up. O'Hannison and Hirschfeld still jousting. 3 Bruins against 2 Toros. 2 of the Toros pinned pretty clearly, so the Bruins eventually win the puck. It's Lipset now. Shot blocked. It ends up wide of the net. Sevatessen finds it first. Sevatessen lost the handle. Lipset plays back to the point. Bynum has trouble. He lost it to Yohala. Yohala finds Batten. Batten into the zone. Drives the net. Drops for O'Hannison. Shot save made, and Batten couldn't swat the rebound out of midair. That's how Batten got his first goal, by finishing off a rebound from Jack O'Hannison.
That first goal, though, from Billy Batten, that rebound settled down nicely for him and an open portion of the net. That one he would have had to take out of midair.
Far side, chipped into the offensive zone. Riley after it. Tui got there first, had his stick checked. Puck rolls to the far wall. Spencer fakes that he's going to launch it. Then on the second try does. Beckwith keeps it at the point, but Spencer takes it back on the half wall. Spence wins a battle, got hit up high, but the Toros escaped the zone anyway. Mindorf tried to feed it into the middle. And on the touch, it's an offside play. The whistle goes. 15:04 left to play here in period number 2. Toros still lead 1-0.
And Mindorf trying to pull it back to avoid the offsides, but he reached just over the blue line, which is going to draw the whistle. Just one shot on goal here in the first 4 minutes and 56 seconds of the second period belongs to the Toros. It was kicked away by Solomon, but a pretty dangerous look.
Draw will be in neutral. Eventually controlled by the Bruins. Elbert in his own zone. Banks to the Toro blue line. Rolls in for Paddington in offside play, and his shot came well after the whistle. It was blocked by Fleming. And that's generally considered a pretty disrespectful play.
And Paddington didn't believe it was offsides, talking to the linesman after the whistle about it. It was close, but it did take away a pretty good look. Fleming was there defensively no matter what.
Dumped in by Fleming. Toros find it on the near side. Small, but it rolled off his stick, and Paddington able to play out to neutral. Toros dump it right back in. Albert on it. Albert plays to the near side. Dumps it cross corner to the far. Fleming swats the puck out of midair. It caroms along. Turned over. Lorenza puts it in front. Backhand try. What a stop by Swedes. But the follow-up try is put home by E.J. Paddington.
It was an amazing initial save by Lucas Vedin, but the save forces him out of the crease. No way he can get back. We'll see if the post comes off before the puck crosses the goal line. I don't believe it did in real time. Here's that initial save. It might have got caught between the post and his pad.
And it
I'm
just
not sure
sat-
he made the stop.
It just sat in the blue paint.
And now they're going to go put the post back where it should be. Cody Campbell and Tyler Ebner seem content to let this one play on.
Toro's not challenging, so I mean, even if the net did come off, it didn't really matter as far as the goal wasn't. The goal didn't go in because the net came off. This dumped in, it goes for an icing.
And Noah Gibbs just got 2 shoves after the whistle. Gibbs is going to keep skating down the ice, avoiding the confrontation between Savatessin and Ryan Lunds.
Draw will be to the right of Swedes. .50 draw, eventually dug out by the Toros, flicked ahead. Bynum kicks to the stick, fires one that's gloved and held by Swedin.
And another draw coming in the Toros' defensive zone. Momentum seems to be shifting toward Austin after they tie this game up. And we talked about that Paddington, Mulcahy, Lorenzo line not having a point coming into this game. Well, Paddington has the goal. Luke Mulcahy has the assist, so they're on the board.
Yeah, a bit of a fluky one, right? It started with that bouncing puck all the way into the corner. As here's a shot that's blocked. Paddington finds it, leaves down the wall. Owens swings it to the far side. Right, Fleming couldn't really clear that puck because it was bouncing. Neither could, I believe it was Spencer. Now a shot from a tough angle goes wide. Bynum down the wall. Bynum up top, Luke Mulcahy. Shot blocked. It'll check up behind the net. Picked up by Lorenza. Lorenza does a lap around the zone and then throws one in front. Save made by Swedes. Rebound hacked ahead, and the Toros find it. Jordan Gibbs gives to Noah Gibbs. Toros trying to bull it out to neutral. They do. They've got Owens in behind the defense. They just missed him, and it goes for an icing. And now Braden Jockums was chopped down behind the play. I didn't see it. Did you?
I did not either. Jockums, don't want to speculate on where he got hit, but it seems like he's all right. Might have just caught a stinger.
He's not attempting to go to the bench for a change, so injured players are allowed to change on an icing. Pile of bodies. Albert finds it, puts it in front. Backhand try, save made. And the rebound trickles in. Tapped home by Evan Mulcahy. And the Toros trail 2-1.
And the official pointed to Mulcahy. It was unclear if the first goal got in or if it was off the crossbar. Initially, that looks to be Bynum with the try. Bynum thought he finished it off himself, but Mulcahy there to clean it up. Doesn't really matter who it goes to. Same result. Mulcahy gets the goal in the box score. And part of that was John Hirschfeld with the first try, not Bynum.
Near side, Nichols chips it in. Far side, bouncing puck, Edwards puts it behind the net. The Bruins find it. Big hit by Ramirez on Albert. Puck rolled to the Toro end. Ty James wins the battle, but it's turned over. Evan Mulcahy kicks to the stick. Taken away, Ty James. This the first time all series the Toros have trailed in a game.
And it feels like the Toros have outplayed the Bruins so far, right? But the first one, a bouncing puck that works its way out in front. And then the second one, once again, worked out from the corner. you know, you don't want to be trailing 2-1, but you don't feel terribly about how the Toros have played so far.
Far side, Clark pins a man, Lipset there. Clark guides it around to the near side. This is Yohala. Pushed off, Riley plays it to the middle, Williams finds it. Shot misses high and wide. In the corner, left behind the net for Clark. Clark banks ahead, he wanted Batten, but it was cut off. Second try does get through to Batten, but he's forced backwards into the Toro zone. Batten escapes, finds some room, uses Yohala as a screen, hits the red line and rolls it deep. Far side, Yohala turning, works it to Batten. Batten trying to get out of the corner. Bruins eventually take it away. Thrown to the near side. Lorenza into the zone, forced wide nicely by Adam Mahler and then taken into the end boards. Mishandled by Paddington, thrown out front, shot goes wide, rebound to the near side, Bynum. Dumped down to the side of the net, banked in front by Lorenza, no one home for the Bruins. Toros roll out to neutral, London, a good stick by Spencer, he's got Mindorf with him. Spencer walks in across for Mindorf. You'd love to see Spence shoot that. This comes to Fleming, shot, save made, rebound to the far corner.
And I think given how long Ian Spencer waited to make the pass, that time that he waited allowed the Bruins defenseman to recover and to tip that puck. Waiting that long, he's got to take the shot there.
This is Jordan Gibbs behind the net. Uses the glass to bank it out to neutral. Lund on it there. He'll dump it in. It's on net. Stopped by Swedes. He drops for Jordan Gibbs ahead. Mindorf tips it into the zone. Solomon can't hold on to it. Spence does. Spence gives to Mindorf, thrown in front. No one home for the Toros. Carried ahead by Albert. Albert into the zone. It was an offside play, and the whistle goes.
Yeah, Hirschfeld was offside by a mile there. I like what the Toros are doing offensively. I think when they push deep into the Bruins zone, they're setting up dangerous looks. Even some of those passes that come from beyond the goal line, they've been intercepted by the Austin Bruins, but the idea is there, and they just haven't been able to convert. And, well, they do have just 2 shots on goal over the first 10 minutes and 4 seconds of this second period. Maybe they're making one too many passes like you saw from Ian Spencer. Just got to put pucks on net, which we talked about toward the end of the regular season.
Yeah, Toros getting odd man advantages and not even resulting in a shot on goal is not a recipe for success. Neither was the long stretches of time they were pinned in their own zone. You'd like to see the Toros get some sustained offensive zone pressure.
You look at the 2 goal scorers for the Bruins. Talked about E.J. Paddington. He had a 50-point season, 20 goals, 30 assists, along with that top line that has been dominant for the Austin Bruins. Evan Malkasian, brother of Luke Malkasian, 8 goals, 22 assists. He's a Harvard commit, a couple years younger than his older brother.
50-50 draw in neutral. Hammered into the Toro zone. Hirschfeld on the near side, met by a pair of Toros. He rings it to the far. Svitessin has it poked off his stick. Noah Gibbs finds it. Gibbs jammed it ahead. It didn't connect. Jordan Gibbs throws it back into a scrum. Noah Gibbs and Braden Jockham's there for the Toros, but it's the Bruins who come out with it. It's Albert. Albert dumps it cross corner to the far side. Hirschfeld left it. Evan Malkasian shot. Saved by Swedes, and the rebound controlled by the Bruins. Another long shot skips wide. Albert pinching down, thought about it, sliding, blocked by Braden Jockham's, and then a blind backhand try by Evan Malkasian. Catches Swedes off guard and gets through. That's the first soft one for Swedo.
That is a brilliant shot by Evan Malkasian, who puts up his second goal within 5 minutes of each other. Malkasian has killed the Toros all year long. Back here at the Pepsi rink in particular, saw him get on the board a couple of times over those final 2 games. One of the reasons that the Bruins clawed away from a 2-1 hole back on March 29th.
Some more fans checking in. Caroline Brower, Josh Dolly is out turkey hunting while listening. Far side, Williams steps into Ramirez. Mahler hacks at it. Touch to the near side, Nichols. Nichols hoists one ahead. Bouncing puck, lays free in neutral. Evan Malkasian dumps it into the Toro zone. Adam Mahler back on it. Mahler gives to Nichols. Nichols looks across for Fleming. Fleming speeds ahead. Fights through a slash, chips it deep. Toros will pursue. Bynum after it. Poked at by Fleming. Freed up Edwards, couldn't quite reach it. Bruins take it away on the far side. Hoist it out to neutral and Lorenza. Lorenza forced to turn by Ty James, who then takes it away. Jams it up ice. Edwards hands to Ramirez. Dane Ramirez fighting through into the corner. Bynum comes out of the scrum with it. Toss across the near side and Lorenza. Lorenza again will work on Ty James. Ty James again forces him to give the puck up, this time to Paddington, who rolls it to the far corner. They dig on that far side. It rolls to the near. Bynum and Edwards come together. Bynum puts it in behind the net. Ty James pokes it along. Pass to the front was blocked off. The Toros look to go. Dane Ramirez couldn't fight through. And now they'll scrum in front of the Bruin bench. Toros win the battle. Hubert Clark into the zone. Breaks wide. Clark, the 07 defenseman for the Toros, out front. Looked to feed it to a Toro. It hit Paddington instead. And now Paddington throws it up and out of play for a whistle. Bruins will be treated like an icing. Offensive zone draw for the Toros, coming with 7.5 to play here in period number 2.
Another play where the Toros are trying to work the puck low to high. Hubert Clark looking out in front for Jack O'Hanneson, but too many Bruins bodies in the way of the puck.
The Braults are tuned in from Janesville. Lauren, Bryn, and Grandma Spencer are in New Lenox, Illinois. Gabriel Ellis and family. Betsy Patterson from California. Quick shot by O'Hanneson. Off the draw, misses high. Jordan Gibbs dumps it down low. Yohala trying to feed Batten, but it's gloved down and forced out to neutral by Lund. Tui, his dump in on net. Solomon plays it, gives to Bynum. Bynum has trouble on the far side, and the Toros take it away. They do. It's O'Hanneson. He's looking up top for Tui. Tui gets a man down. Shot, save made, and the rebound held onto. And now Beckwith coming after Billy Batten, but Beckwith wears a bubble. And Beckwith, and now another player, Paddington, who wears a bubble, going after Yohala.
There was a bouncing puck in the body of Jack Solomon, and Billy Batten saw it, thought that Solomon hadn't had it clean yet, so trying to take a hack at the puck, and that's what Connor Beckwith took exception to. Like you said, these are two players that wear full masks for the Austin Bruins, and
both are 05s. Both could be wearing visors if they wanted. You want to play the tough guy game, play the tough guy game all the way. North Dakota time on the clock, 7:01 to play here in period number 2. Toros trail the Bruins 3-1 here in game 3.
So Hanneson on the one-timer off the face-off just a moment ago. This time it's Middendorf lined up to take it. O'Hanneson didn't take it clean. He had to gather it, which allowed the Bruins to get a tip on it out in front.
Draw poked in behind the net. Spencer's on it first. Spence trying to work it to the front in Mindorf, but it's cut off. Far side, Mindorf blocks the clearing attempt. Small stepped into, eventually the puck thrown across to the near side. Elbert looks up ice. Beckwith touches it into the zone. Beckwith and Mahler come together, but it's to the near side and Lipset. They dig along the boards. Evan Malkasian trips Mindorf down, and that'll get a call. And now Malkasian needs to be careful. Well, I guess the Toros would prefer he isn't. Hopefully he gets more.
The reason Malkasian is frustrated there is because he got a shove from behind from Gavin Middendorf right before he tripped up Middendorf. And so when he gets up, he's looking for the first call, but he did commit the penalty right after. It's just that he didn't get the whistle he wanted.
Well, now the Bruins, who are leading this game 3-1, as soon as a call goes the other way, they get frustrated. And you wonder, despite the lead, if they're still feeling the pressure of the elimination game.
Fourth power play chance for the Toros. That included a minute and 41 seconds of a 5-on-3 back in the first.
Toros win the draw back, but it splits Mahler and Spencer, so they'll have to retreat anyway. Several players collide, and it's an offside play when the Toros touch, unfortunately. But the Bruins all ran into each other. They're looking for a penalty call. I don't know.
It's friendly
Why
fire.
are they putting the draw all the way back in the Toros' end? It's not an icing.
I mean, put that one on the blooper reel. Williams, Savitessin, and another Austin Bruin all collide.
Why is this draw back in the Toro zone? It wasn't an offside, or it was an offside. It wasn't an icing. We just saw the replay. The dump in was from the dot.
Cody Campbell and Tyler Ebner aren't asking for an official word, so maybe they know something we don't.
I'm betting they know a lot of things we don't when it comes to the game of hockey. But the draw is to the left of Swedin. Spence lost it after he had to step in after a Toro was tossed. Meanwhile, Lorenza and Spencer were jousting. This is an offside play with Lorenza pressures, so you've had to eventually back off. Toros dump it in. Lipset met by Batten. Puck to the near side. Spence taken into the wall, but the Toros win the puck. This is Yohala. Toros will set it up with a minute 14. Batten gives to Yohala. Yohala looks up top for Mahler. Mahler gives back to Yohala. Yohala walks to the middle, drops for Batten. Batten has it poked off his stick. The Bruins eventually take it away and clear it the length.
It took Billy Batten an extra moment to settle down that puck. If he can pick it up and either get a quick shot or pass it back door, it sets up a good look for the Toros.
Mahler gives to Mindorf. Mindorf speeds ahead, dumps it cross corner. It's left to the far side. Small tried to hand to Noah Gibbs, but it's taken away and cleared. Knock out a few more check-ins in a plane over Utah. Mandolin Cuthbert. Amalia Stahoyak aboard. Paul and Susan Zielikowski in Killdeer. Marine Mary is the Toros. John Small looks to gain the zone on the far side. He's forced back again. Turning with it is Tui. Just 15 seconds on the power play. Tui hands off to Mindorf. Back to Tui. Tui turns when he hits the goal line. Getting worked over by Bynum. Eventually, Jockham's trying to get it to the front. He can't. Noah Gibbs to the far side. Back to the point. Small comes across for Mindorf. Mindorf fans on the shot. Jockham's working down low. Toros only have one defenseman on the ice right now as Jockham's has put in a bear hug. They throw it up top, and that missed Tui, and the Toros will have to retreat. John Small went for a change so that Jordan Gibbs could get on the ice. This is Tui with speed ahead, gives to Parker Newman. Newman chips it in for Edwards, who fans on the bouncing puck. And it comes down low, and it's hoisted out to neutral. Ty James carries ahead, chips it in. Bruins are on it first. They flick it up ice. Ty James takes it away. Parker Newman turning with it. Newman for Edwards. Edwards rolls it into the zone. Ramirez is after it. Bynum got there first. Newman up on the pressure. The Bruins evade, and it's far side Lipset. Lipset has Evan Malkasian, and he missed him entirely with a long pass that goes for an icing. Shots 18-12 in favor of the Bruins, who lead this war 3-1.
And just 9 shots on goal in total this period. Austin with 6, the Toros with 3. And looking at this game, I'm still thinking back to that moment in the first period where the Toros had an extended 5-on-3 chance, up a goal, up 2 games to none. A chance to try and put the Bruins away, take a 2-goal lead with a 2-game lead. Can't do it there. 1-0 to the first intermission, and now you see the Bruins getting on the board here in the second.
Draw will be to the right. The Bruins get a change off the icing by winning that faceoff right back to their goaltender. Yohala on the draw against Hirschfeld. They'll toss Hirschfeld. So Jackson Riley steps in. He wins the draw. Lund carries around behind. Far side, Yohala. Yohala couldn't settle down a bouncing puck, and Svitessin starts up ice. Svitessin working on Mahler. Mahler dumps him down. Then Mahler's hit by Jackson Riley. Svitessin turnaround shot goes wide. Rebound to the near side. Lund keeps it at the point. His shot blocked out front. Follow-up try taken away by Mahler, but Lund again keeps it at the point. His shot goes wide of the net and checks up behind the cage. Fleming to the near side and Ohannesson. Ohannesson looks across for Adam Mahler. Mahler fires it up ice. Batten tips it into the zone, but Hirschfeld finds it first. Thrown to the near side. Lund trying to keep it away from Ohannesson, but he can't. Second try does, and now it's ahead for Hirschfeld. Off the mark, Spencer. Spencer sweeps it into the offensive zone. Solomon out of his net will stop. Toros were mid-change, so there was minimal pressure. Williams up ice, missed Hirschfeld, and that will go for an icing. Icing is brought to you by our friends at
Minot's Finest Collision Center. 3 2s on the board here in the second period. Toros still looking to get something going, and Ken, I don't know if it's been a lack of energy in the second period, a lack of movement. I don't necessarily think that the Bruins have dominated the game, but the Toros haven't made much happen.
The first part of the period definitely belonged to the Bruins. Toros have gotten more zone time, but they haven't been able to get really anything towards the net, as this is Small pinned up in the corner. Hirschfeld will push play the other way. Hirschfeld hands off on the far side. Lorenza taking off the puck. The Toros start up ice. 4-on-2. Mindorf is the trigger man. Crisscrosses, leaves for Tui. Tui back to the middle and missed Small and Mindorf. Mindorf hauled down. Toros not getting another call. They've had plenty of power plays. Hard to complain too much. Hirschfeld drops it across. Return feed is off the mark. Lorenza looking to walk out of the corner. Shot save made by Swedin, and then Lorenza tried to two-hand Swedin in the face. Fortunately for the Toros, he missed, but now the Toros have iced the puck. Icing's brought to you by our friends at
Minot's Finest Collision Center. I thought Alex Lorenza actually had a better look just seconds before when he tried to pass it back to the near side of Swedin. Takes that shot there, and yeah, like you said, he tried to run Swedin after the play.
Draw will be to the right of Swedes. John Small against Lipset. Bouncing puck, controlled eventually by the Toros. Ian Spencer, toss across, finds Mindorf into the zone. Mindorf, shot goes wide. Rebound, Noah Gibbs punches it deep. Toros were changing. Mahler steps up on Lipset. Thrown to the near wall. It does get out. A good stick by Mindorf prevents a chance the other way. Toros dump it back in. Williams looks to leave it up the wall. Evan Malkasian's there. Jochum steps into him. Bouncing puck. This is a delayed offside, and on the play the whistle goes, and now Luke Malkasian says something to the official. On a certain point, we're going to... Surprised we haven't seen abuse of an official's call from just how demonstrative the Bruins have been when yelling at the officials.
And we've seen that called with this crew, but I think that maybe during the postseason they're a little bit more inclined to let things slide Officials don't want to put Luke Mulcahy in the box for 10 minutes, one of the best players on their team.
Jockham's just got cross-checked in the face with the referee looking right at it and went uncalled. Now Beckwith walks in, save made by Swedin. I mean,
that was clear as day.
It was interference. It was a cross-check. It was probably a punch as well. Yikes. Final 30 seconds of the period. Final minute brought to you by our friends at Northern Plains Equipment. Bruins working in the offensive zone, taken away. Jockham's gives it up ice, Noah Gibbs. Noah Gibbs into the zone, finds Owens. Owens looking across, finds Jockham's shot, fought off. Rebound checks up behind the net. That would have been some poetic justice if Jockham's could have gotten it to go.
And during this series, we've seen even stats when it's come to power plays. Both teams 2 on Friday, both teams 2 on Saturday. And the Toros have 4 this game, the Bruins just 1. Sometimes you wonder if the officials just don't want to give the Toros kind of that extra margin because they've already had so many more. But frankly, it's because that's how the Austin Bruins play. And
I mean, the last 2 non-calls have been so clear. The only reason could be the fact that they don't want to be that much of the story. Puck the other way, Jackson Riley and O'Hannison after it, but the horn sounds to end the period. I still can't believe there was no call on the Jockham's play.
Linesman was staring right at it.
As was the back official. And the puck was there too, so the front official should have been looking at it too. Either way, I'll let you and Edward take us through the intermission. We'll have the intermission interview in just a moment.
All right, well, Ken stepping aside for now. Edward Neiman heading back over to the broadcast booth. We'll see who Lauren Hill has down on the bench. It's unclear. Sometimes after a period like that, she'll go for assistant coach Tyler Ebner. But Coach Ebner headed back to the locker room. I think they're looking to regroup, and Lauren's going to grab Landon Fleming. So as they get ready for the Farmers Union intermission interview, Edward, that was not the period the Toros were looking for. Quite frankly, the first goal seemed a little bit fluky. Bouncing puck works its way out in front. The second goal, Evan Mulcahy slaps one by. We'll talk about it after the Farmers Union intermission interview.
All right, Toros fans, I am here with Landon Fleming for the Farmers Union Insurance intermission interview. I'll keep it short and sweet here. We are up 2-0 on the series, down by 2 goals tonight. What is it going to take to get back into this game and win Game 3?
More than 12 shots. We need to shoot the puck way more. We're passing on everything, so we need to get more pucks than that and hopefully find some goals there.
All right, thank you, Landon.
I think Landon said it well there. The Toros keep making the extra pass when they have open shots. You've seen it on 2-on-1s. And that was something that was maybe a problem toward the end of the season that is cursing the Toros here tonight.
Yeah, I think in the playoffs you just, you want to force pucks to the front of the net, especially with a team like Austin. And I think, the Toros, of course, maybe on some of those plays just making the extra pass, rather than just forcing that to the front of the net. But I think overall you brought up that first goal. The first 2 goals I think were tip of the cap type of goals. That last one, a great shot by Evan Mulcahy for his second. I don't think it was a horrible period by the Toros by any stretch of the imagination, but if you're the Austin Bruins and Steve Howard, good bounce back period. A fairly clean period as well for them, just the 1 tripping penalty on Mulcahy, Evan that is. And I thought it was a good bounce back after kind of going down, maybe only by 1 goal in that first period, but a little bit of more in terms of momentum.
Yeah, and they definitely got the momentum, and I think the reason that period is frustrating for the Toros is, like you said, it didn't seem like the Toros got dominated that period. You wouldn't have necessarily expected Austin to put up a 3 spot, right? 1 shot from Evan Mulcahy that was absolutely filthy. Takes it through his legs, catches Lucas Fedin off guard, but the other 2, like you said, a little bit fluky. The first one, Lucas Fedin out of position, trying to make the initial save. Puck stays in the crease. We'll get you highlights from the period in a moment. Got to keep this up as it is for now. But we'll get you highlights as soon as we can. Bruins outshoot the Toros 10-5 in that period. Now they outshoot the Toros 21 to 14 tonight, and that's been a theme through the season. The Austin Bruins averaging over a +7 shot differential against the Toros.
Yeah, and I think if you're Austin, obviously that's one thing that you like to see out of them. But going back to the original point, only 5 shots on net for the Toros, only 9 that first period as well. But the first period you can kind of give a little bit just because the margin was so slim, just a lower shots on net total for both teams in that period. But if you're the Toros, you have Solomon a little uncomfortable. You would have liked to seen a little more pressure to the front of the net. But you have to give Austin credit for coming back in that period and maybe not being as active in the penalty box as they were in that first period.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And that's what Landon Fleming was saying. You look at 2-on-1s, and there were 2 2-on-1s that period where the Toros don't get a shot on net. That can't happen, right? And they're looking for the perfect angle. They're looking for a shot on an open net, but sometimes you got to throw one on. If Solomon makes the save, maybe you get a rebound over to the backside. But now we'll take a look at highlights from the second period, as here it is. That was the Bruins' first goal there. This is going to be their second of the period. And there's the shot out in front, and finishing off the rebounds was Evan Malkasian. Thought Hirschfeld might have got it on the initial try up top, and then here's Malkasian's through the legs, through a defender. Oh my goodness, that was gross.
Yeah, that's like the second goal I think in this series by the Austin Bruins. Has just been highlight reel. So Evan Malkasian, great period there. Obviously, the 2 goals in the period, Hirschfeld and Albert with the assists on the second goal, and then Albert also had the helper on the third goal in that period for the Bruins.
And Edward, when I look at this game, I'm still thinking back to the first period when the Toros had 1 minute and 41 seconds of a 5-on-3. Right, Toros now 0 for 4 on the power play, but you think back to that sequence, if the Toros can get a 2-goal lead against the Bruins team that frankly looked a little bit depleted in the first period, not so much in the second period, we might be looking at a very different game.
Yeah, and as I mentioned, a cleaner period in that second frame by the Bruins, and now with the lead, I think you expect Austin to play a little more clean in the third period to protect that lead, so perhaps not as many opportunities down the stretch for the Toros on the extra man advantage, but if, given the opportunity, obviously you're going to take advantage looking to try to pull this game even.
And there were a couple of penalties that went uncalled at the end of the period. You saw Braden Jockums take a check to the face. And sometimes you wonder in situations like this when the Toros already have the power play advantage in 4-1, the officials don't want to maybe give the calls. You don't want to speculate on that sort of thing. But on that sort of play where it's clear as day and you see a linesman and an official looking at it, you kind of wonder why it's not called.
Yeah, and I think Austin, a really well-coached team, they know the position they're in, right? They know that they've had, obviously, more shorthanded chances out there than the Toros, so, maybe pushing the aggression a little bit, seeing what you can get away with. You're already an aggressive team, and I think everybody knows that going into this one, so definitely something to monitor, but I think, like I mentioned before, the big thing here for Austin to try to, get a game here in Game 3 is just going to play a clean period of hockey, but for the Toros, I don't think they're really out of this game by any stretch. I don't think they were really outskated in that second period. Just a couple of really good goals by Austin.
Yeah, I'm with you there, Edward. And even if the Bruins do go to the penalty kill, well, they've been magnificent on the kill. The last time they gave up a power play goal was March 29th. So you're talking about the last 4 games of the regular season, now the first 2 2/3 games in the postseason. They've killed their last 32 penalties.
Yeah, and obviously last weekend both teams go 0 for 8 on the power play. Hasn't been a factor so far in this one, but you'd like to think at some point, one way or another, it's gonna play a role in these games.
We'll step aside here on the Four Bears Casino and Lodge Intermission Report. I'm eager to check out the Wings vs. Bobcats score, but we'll get that to you after the break. Stay tuned.
Our history sets us on our path. From the moment we're born, we began our walk through life. We learn so we can discover. We find our passion and develop our skills. We build relationships. And we start thinking about what we're going to leave behind to those we love. Let our legacy help shape yours. First International Bank and Trust. No matter your place in life, we can help you live first. As far as what Plains Egg has to offer, great pay along with some of the best benefits that I've seen in the job market. The company understands the importance of family and family values. You need to have that time with your children. Plains Egg is 100% family oriented. I love working here. Very helpful. There's no problem it feels like we can't solve when we're working together.
Go to plainsegg.com, fill out the application, and we'll be in touch with you shortly.
Circle Sanitation is a locally owned family business providing quality waste hauling services since 1980. We provide service to residential and commercial customers, as well as roll-off service for large projects and construction sites. We are dedicated to providing excellent service at competitive prices without deceptive contracts or hidden fees. For more on what Circle Sanitation can do for you, call us or visit circlesanitation.com.
The puck, the net, the crowd, the moment, a chance to make history. Just like that perfect play, we're here to help you win at your financial game. At Great River Federal Credit Union, we offer competitive rates and innovative technology designed to empower you to achieve your goals. Become a member of Great River and score a $100 bonus on our newest promo code Hockey100. Visit greatriverfco.org/Hockey100 for details and open an account. Member NCAA.
Been in business for over 25 years. We've learned a lot about why local matters, unlike those guys. Let's pride our work and back our tires with our Plus Plan guarantee to get the most out of your tires' lifespan. Are the tires the same size on all sides? We're strive to provide great value to our guests and lowest prices guaranteed. That's not good. Stop at a trusted tire and auto and get a set of tires from people you know and trust and will even match those guys.
Embodied the American spirit like the family farmer. Year after year, they continue to work the land and plant their crops. Through droughts, floods, and uncertain markets, they keep that spirit alive with another crop harvested for the next generation. And for that, we tip our hats to them. Farmers Union Insurance, protecting those that protect America's food source.
The Lamplighter is Minot's premier liquor store. Whether you're looking for wine, cold beer, or a fine bourbon, stop in and browse our selection, or make a quick stop at our convenient drive-thru. The Lamplighter Lounge and Liquor Store.
Since 1977, Northwest Tires has been your partner on the road for over 40 years. People have put their trust in our quality brand tires and expert service on the roads and in the fields for work, play, and travel. Northwest Tire, keeping you rolling down the road.
Tomorrow might be hard to see, but tomorrow is right in front of us. And we're always looking towards it. Investing another $4 billion in renewable energy and low-carbon solutions through 2025. And lowering emissions by modernizing our infrastructure, bridging to a sustainable energy future.
Life, there's good, better, and the best. The same theme applies for our car and light truck tires at Northwest Tire. We offer you good tires, better tires, and the best tires. Which choice is right for you? That depends on your tire performance needs and your budget. The choice is yours. Come in and talk to one of our tire experts, and we'll help you decide which tire is best for you. Keeps you rolling down the road.
We all have our ups and downs, but just like on the ice, we don't have to face the challenges alone. That's why we're excited to support First Link for our second season of Shut Out the Stigma. First Link is a free, confidential service offering listening and support, referrals to resources, and crisis interventions 24 hours a day. For the first 20 saves at each home game made by the goalies of the Minotauros, the Blue Cross Blue Shield and North Dakota Care Foundation will donate $50 to First Link to keep hope on the line. Life is for money. And the First International Bank and Trust, we're all about money. Helping your dreams come true. Because we're not just in the banking business. We're all for used home business, the community sponsorship business, the how do I make this happen business. Make your banking life easy, so you can focus on what matters most. First International Bank and Trust. Life first.
Evan Epstein back alongside Edward Neiman here on the Forebears Casino and Lodge Intermission Report. Toros lead the series 2-0 against the Austin Bruins, but they trail 3-1 after giving up that 3 spot in the second period. You see on your screens there, taking a look back out east, the Rochester Junior Americans 2-0 series lead, and they're going to overtime against the Johnstown Tomahawks, tied up at 3. Rochester ties that game up in the third to try and take the series in overtime. Maine Nordiques are going to finish off a 3-0 win over the Maryland Black Bears. That's a big one.
Yeah.
Tied into the second intermission. Nordiques as well put up a 3 spot in the third, go up 2-1, and they have home ice for tomorrow, so trying to avoid Game 5 out in Maryland.
Yeah, Maine getting outshot there 32-24 as well, so 3 goals on 24 shots. I mean, you don't mind that at all.
Black Bears see 6 power play opportunities. None of them get through. On to the Midwest, the Wisconsin Wendigo are tied up at 2 with the Chippewa Steel. Oh, that's the Central that we see up on the board. We'll get to that in just a minute. Wendigo and Steel even at 1A side. That one's actually going to overtime as well. Chippewa comes back from a 2-goal deficit to force OT. Other game in the Midwest, Fairbanks and Anchorage yet to drop the puck. Anchorage up 2-0. Now you see it up on our screen. You know what's going on here. Bobcats still a 2-1 lead. 13-13 to go in the third there. 24 shots aside. It's got to be Anderson and Cunningham, you would think. Unless someone's got injured.
Yes.
And it is Anderson and Cunningham. Cunningham 22 for 24, Anderson 23 for 24. Goalie battle continues out there, and then both series have been wrapped up down south. Not much to talk about there. Huge series coming up between Corpus Christi and Lone Star. That'll be fun. But back to the action in front of us. Toros trail 3-1. And we talked about it. Toros pushed the puck down into the Bruins zone. I think a back and forth period in terms of possession time, but maybe too many passes trying to work the puck back door when they're on the breakaway. They're taking the puck down to the goal line, which is giving the Bruins time to recover defensively. And I think that's been the Toros' kryptonite in the second.
Yeah, and I think it'd be interesting to see kind of what version of the Toros that we'll get here to start the third period. I think if you pop one in that first 10 minutes of the third period, it makes things very interesting. You get this home crowd back into it, start to get Solomon a little uncomfortable in net. I think this game can be turned on its head. But, one shift at a time at this point. And, like I said before, I think the Toros are very well in this game. The second period obviously didn't go their way, but I don't think they were completely dominated in that frame either.
And I'm interested to see, like you said, how they come out of the locker room. Cody Campbell and Tyler Ebner are going to have something drawn up to start this second period. You assume it'll be starting lines out for the Toros. Baden, Yahala, and O'Hannison, who collectively put together that first goal of the game for the Cream and Cardinal. And frankly, I think that's probably going to be the message. Drive the net, put a puck on, and look for a rebound on the other side.
Yeah, combined 14 shots in this game. I don't have the shot totals from the previous 2 games. Obviously, that Saturday night contest, a few more shots on net, but, a relatively low-scoring series so far. And, sometimes it's just about putting pucks on net and, giving yourself an opportunity to hammer home a rebound and force the Bruins to try to clear that out from in front of their own net.
And even for Austin, 21 shots is a pretty low total. Right. Last Friday, 37-35 in favor of the Bruins, who was back and forth the whole way. Last Saturday, Bruins led the shot total 48-34. However, in that game on Saturday, the Bruins shot total in the first period was 20-7. So while it's a plus 14 shot differential for the Bruins across the game, 13 of those in the first, and then a very even final 40 minutes.
Right, and I expect the Toros, Cody Campbell just making those adjustments very early when they're in the zone, just firing pucks on net, even deep from the blue line, and seeing what they can get working on the rebounds. I've liked what I've seen the Toros finishing off their rushes down the ice. I think they've done a nice job filling into the slot and putting themselves in a good position. They just need to get the puck back out in front of Solomon to hammer it home.
You talk about shots deep from the blue line, and in games 1 and 2, that's what the Austin Bruins were trying to do. Taking long shots, trying to screen it up out in front, and that's how Ryan Lund tied the game in game 2 before Yahala would go on to win it in overtime. We talked about that Lipset goal, a little bit different there, banked off the end wall, and then he takes it through his legs. But tonight, those first 2 goals, I don't even think you can say the Bruins set up an offense. It's just a puck that squirted out in front, and then the other one was a shot from close range. I think the Bruins have maybe changed their tactics a little bit offensively in game 3.
Yeah, and I think Steve Howard has made good adjustments, particularly, even from game 2 to game 3, but also from that first period to the second period. I really like what I saw from Austin, and, if they can continue that, interested to see how the Toros will match it.
All right, well, that will do it for us here on the Forebears Casino and Lodge Intermission Report. Players skating back out to the ice, jump arounds queued up here at the Pepsi rink. As a Wisconsin man myself, always love to hear that song. Cody Campbell standing on the bench. Toros still waiting to come out to the ice. Austin Bruins already filing over the wall as Ken Oda steps back into his chair. Ken,
hold on.
What is going on here? All right, technical difficulties here at the Pepsi rink, and that means Ken is called into action. So we will figure out what's going on there as the Toros finally hit the ice. It's going to be starting lines for both sides. Starting lines for the Bruins tonight, it was John Hirschfield's, Gavin Haruza, and Jackson Riley. That was the starting unit for game 1 for the Austin Bruins. Then game 2, they went with the Lorenza line. Back to the Hirschfield line for game 3 for the Toros. Well, it's been the same line all 3 games. If they win, it generally stays the same, and that's been Billy Batten, Jesse Yahala, Jack O'Hanneson, Landon Fleming, and Adam Mahler. We'll see if the Toros make some adjustments into the third period here. Landon Fleming said it during the interview, got to take more shots. Looking to pass the puck into the net. Isn't going to get it done for the Toros.
Puck is down, third period underway. And it's immediately dumped out of play by the Bruins. If there's anything to be said for tonight's game for the Toros, every goal has been scored in the net to our left. 1 in the first, 3 in the third. Follow that pattern, I wouldn't mind 5 here in the goal to our left here in period number 3. I'd settle for 3 though as Batten pokes this ahead. Yahala finds it into the zone. Yahala has his puck checked off his stick. Still got a shot from a tight angle. Follow-up try by Mahler goes up off the end wall. Bruins find it. Carried ahead, Albert gains the red line and dumps it deep into the Toro zone. 2 pucks are on the ice. I'm not sure how that happened. Meanwhile, this is Lund. Lund throws it in front. Fanning on it was Jackson Riley. Thrown towards the cage again, off the mark. Lund keeps it, tries a shot. That missed everyone. Now Mahler looking for Yahala, but Bynum gloved it down to the stick and then leaves to the near side and Lipset. Lipset gains the line, rolls it in, looks to chase it down. He and Jordan Gibbs come together. Fire around to the far side, Lund with a long shot. That sails wide. Bouncing puck. Turnaround try. Swatted away by Swedin. Follow-up try again. Stopped and this time held on to by Swedo. 18:43 left to play here in regulation. Toros trail by a pair. Looking at records coming in after 2 periods, the Bruins a perfect 32-0 when leading after 40 minutes. The Toros, though, it's not a winning record, but 5-13-1 when trailing entering the third period is pretty strong.
Yeah, the Toros have certainly shown the ability to come back, but like you said, the Bruins haven't given up a lead after 2 so far.
Long shot sails wide. They'll dig in the near corner. Wraparound try, and now a couple extra whacks by Beckwith on Swedin. The Toros take exception.
And there's a rebound given, so Beckwith's trying to claw away, and you forget that Svedin covered up the puck at some point, and he tries to keep swiping, and that's the cause of the feistiness after the whistle, although
I don't mind the first poke, but it was probably 3 and 4 that made it excessive.
Right, and I think you have seen the Austin Bruins lay off the extra hits, however, after the whistle in the second and third periods once they took the lead. The first you saw them frustrated. They were taking extra penalties, and they were getting into it with the Toros, but now I think they're a lot more focused on this game.
Mellgren's shot deflected and almost caught Swedin moving the wrong way, but Swedes lucky as that eventually ended up going wide. Toros take it over in their own zone. This is Spencer looking to start up ice. Spencer bounces one across. Paddington breaks it up. It was intended for Mindorf. Near side, Lorenza. Met by Clark, so Lorenza just rolls it towards the Toro end. This is Jordan Gibbs. Leaves off near side Clark. Clark for Spencer, who touches it into the zone. Mindorf was trying to touch it around Albert, but Albert made a good play. Clark in the Toro zone. This is dumped in. Bruins are on it. Dumped down the ice, races on, and it goes for an icing. And a whistle. Icing is brought to you by our friends at
Minot's Finest Collision Center. Interesting season series between the Toros and the Bruins. Both sides played better on the road. Toros 3-1, opening up the season with a road sweep over the Austin Bruins. Bruins back in December swept the Toros here at the Pepsi Rink, and then in March, both sides split both series. Went back-to-back from Austin the 21st and 22nd to Minot here on the 28th and 9th.
Quick shot off the draw by Jochums, gloved and held by Solomon.
Toros love that play. They love to set it up, and that's how it's supposed to work. Jochums gets a clean shot through. Unfortunately for Jochums, right at the chest of Jack Solomon, and a routine save. Jochums to take the face-off this time. Traditional formation for the Toros.
Bruins win the draw. Toros working to take it away in the offensive zone. It's chipped in behind the net for Williams. Eventually chipped ahead. It missed Savitessin, but he wins the race for icing. Ty James pins him along the end wall. Eventually dug out by the Toros. Owens missed Jochums. The dump in. We'll check up at the side of Swede's net. Swedin hands to Clark. Clark put it up ice. Ty James couldn't chase it down, and now the Toros again are going to have to find it. Swedin ahead off Lorenza. Lund finds it at his own blue line and dumps it back in. Hit hard by Noah Gibbs for the effort. Toros looking for a change. Meanwhile, Clark plays across for Ty James. Yohala feeds Ohannesson into the zone. Ohannesson working wide on Bynum. Throws one around the cage. It'll come to the near side. Fleming hustles, keeps it. His shot sails wide. Mahler pinches down. Adam Mahler. And Ohannesson working on that far wall for the Toros. Bynum pins Mahler. Eventually it's dug out by Paddington. Ohannesson forcing Paddington to give up the puck. Batten takes it away. Batten trying to get it to the front. He could not, so we'll hold on instead. Lund takes Batten off the puck. Batten shows some frustration. Toros take over. Paddington just dumped Adam Mahler behind the play. Fleming starts up ice, hands to Batten. Batten tries his shot. It's blocked, and now the race is on the other way. But Mindorf wins the battle. Small guides it back. Jordan Gibbs. Jordan Gibbs turns off pressure from Lipset. Eventually the Bruins take it away, except for Beckwith's stick exploded. John Small looking to get away from Evan Malkasian, who's got 2 goals already tonight. Near side, Spencer. Spencer drops it back for Jordan Gibbs. Ahead to the near side. It's off the mark, intended for Middendorf. Rolled into the Toro zone. Jackson Riley drives the net and does well to avoid running over Swedin. A surprisingly respectful play from Riley. Dumped down the wall. Spencer takes it away. Spencer looks across, has Middendorf into the zone. Middendorf working against Luang, who pushed him off the puck, and it goes the distance for an icing.
Middendorf just got bodied away from that puck, but I thought that was great defensive pressure from Jordan Gibbs as Riley drove to the net. Gibbs manages to not commit a tripping penalty while still applying pressure on Riley. That's a tough position. Sometimes you'll see a defenseman just drag down the player, draw a whistle, and you avoid the chance out in front, but Gibbs still makes it difficult for Riley without sending the Toros shorthanded.
Draw will be to the right of Solomon. They're going to toss Owens, so Jockums will step in. One back, tack to tape for Owens. Shot save made. Rebound given to the corner. A late shift from Owens, and the Toros got exactly what they wanted up until the point where Solomon made the save. Ty James takes that away, feeds Owens. Owens touches ahead for Jockums. Jockums rolls it into the zone, gets around the way, tries to throw it to the front for Noah Gibbs. It doesn't get through. Side of the net still loose, and then over the top with the glove is Solomon.
And some extracurriculars after the whistle that died down a little bit quicker than they might have in the regular season. You've still seen the chippiness. These two sides don't like each other, but they know the importance of this game. Neither side willing to go. Adam Mahler coming out onto the ice. Jordan Gibbs is still on the ice. Usually you see Mahler with Fleming. Toro's going to switch it up for the defensive pairing. Jordan Gibbs with Adam Mahler.
I think this is about the offensive zone draw and maybe trying to get Mahler a shot. Meanwhile, it'll be Ramirez in the shooting hole. Draw poked to the corner. Bynum lost it. Jordan Gibbs puts it towards the front. Quick shot. Save made. No rebound given by Solomon.
And then Ramirez just got punched in the face after the shot. Terrific play by Dane Ramirez in traffic to put it down and get a shot through a couple of players. Here it is with a jumping Davin Nichols as the screen out in front. Solomon stays strong. We didn't see the punch in the face. Replay got cut off, but once again, you see the start to chippiness, but not the follow through.
Draw will be in the offensive zone. Eventually, Svitessin finds it. Ramirez slams into him. Puck out to neutral. Jordan Gibbs did well to win the battle. Jordan Gibbs has it hacked off his stick by Evan Malkasian. Collision in front of the Bruin bench and eventually swept into the Toro zone. Swedin finds it. Banks out to neutral. Ramirez touches it ahead, but Savitessin's there. Savitessin drops it back. Near side, Bynum touches it into the offensive zone. Toros trail by a pair as they retreat on this. It's Mahler leaving it for Ramirez. 13:33 to play here in regulation. Long pass ahead, touched into the zone by O'Hannison. Solomon out of his net, throws to the far side. Bouncing puck out to neutral. Races on the other way. Ty James steps into Lorenza. Puck poked ahead. Billy Batten fights through. Batten stepped into by Melgren. Puck ahead. Touched into the zone by Lorenza. Out of his net to stop is Swedin. Toros control. Puck to the near side. Turned over. Bouncing puck. Swatted away by Swedin. This is Yohala. Ahead for O'Hannison. Into the zone. Drops for Billy Batten, who can't find the handle cleanly. Carries over to the wall. Poked free. Ty James comes across for Clark. Clark, shot blocked. Good defensive play there by Lorenza. Up top, Ty James tries a shot into the glove for a whistle.
Jack O'Hanneson just a little late to try and get over to that side to get in the vision of Jack Solomon. It's a clean shot. Not much difficulty for Solomon. Shots even 5 aside this period, but that's not going to do it for the Toros trailing by 2.
Nope. Clock counting up as it counts down. 1, 2, 3, 4 left to play here in regulation. Draw will be to the left of Solomon. If you're the Toros, you'd like to get one probably before the 5-minute mark. You don't want to have to pull your goalie down 2. If you can get one and make it a 1-goal game with 5 to play, you're feeling much better than you are if you cannot. Far side, Seviteshin carries ahead, gains the red and dumps it deep. He and Adam Mahler come together. Fleming's back on this. Fleming moves it to the near side. Jochums. Jochums works it ahead. Noah Gibbs. Hands up ice, broken up, and then chipped towards the Toro zone. Fleming back on it with Riley on his hip. Flem eludes pressure, makes a play to the far side. Pass up for Chuck Owens just off the mark. Lipset couldn't settle it down, neither could Jochums, and eventually it's Hirschfeld. Hirschfeld into the zone, hits the brakes, looks across for a trailer. It's Bynum. Bynum's shot blocked by Adam Mahler. Mahler tries to swat it out to neutral, but it's kept. Hirschfeld in the near corner. To the near side, Lipset walled off by Owens, who touches that puck ahead. It was kept nicely by Lund. But eventually the Toros took over. Ahead for Owens. He can't find it. Noah Gibbs is chopped down, and the Toros will go to the power play with 11:39 left to go here in regulation, and a chance, if this power play can finally break through, to make it a 1-goal game.
Toros get the whistle in the third. There was just one penalty in the second. Came 13 minutes and 29 seconds into the period. This is Lipset heading back to the box for his second penalty of the game. Toros 0 for 8 coming into tonight in the playoffs, now 0 for 12 on the power play, but it seems as if the puck movement has been much more efficient tonight. They've won faceoffs that's allowed them to keep it in the zone, but this time it's the Bruins winning it back and quickly clearing it. That's what we saw down in Austin.
Out of his net to stop is Swedin. Mahler back on it. He'll start the Toros up. 1:49 on the power play. Ian Spencer holds on the near side. Gives back to Mahler. Mahler into the zone. Leaves it far corner. Billy Batten after it. Civitessa there walls him off. Turned over. Spencer puts it out front. Yohala. Shot blocked to the corner. That was a good defensive play there by Bynum to eat that puck. Mahler into the zone. Leaves for Batten. Batten cuts the middle. Tried to feed Spencer in front. It was tipped to the corner. Spence rings it behind the net. Batten banks back to the point. Mahler. Toros will set it up with 1:15. Down to the far circle. Batten up top for Mahler. Toros repositioning themselves. And now the power play is officially set up. Spencer drops down to O'Hanneson for a shot that's blocked. Spencer finds it. Looks up top for Mahler. Mahler walks in. Wires. That misses high. Rebound. Batten. Mahler holds, leaves off far side Yohala. Yohala drops it to Batten on the goal line. Top of the far circle, Yohala. Back to Batten at the goal line. They'll trade places now. Batten leaves up top for Mahler. Mahler comes across the near side, Spencer. Spencer, side of the net, one-timer doesn't go, and the rebound clipped ahead, and it takes Mahler out to neutral.
O'Hanneson just got the first shot on goal on the power play for the Toros. Toros trying to set up that grade A chance, but there was a lot of passing before that shot.
Toros will finish their change. Only 14 seconds left on the power play. Tui comes to Small. Small forced to turn at the blue line. Drops it back to Tui. Tui from the red line jams it in. Solomon out of the net as the Bruins come full strength. Small gets it down the wall to Mindorf. Mindorf cuts the middle. Shot save made with the paddle by Solomon. The sound of it may have also been Jochums tipping it. That causes it to go wide as that's thrown up and out of play for a whistle.
I'm not sure Solomon got any of it. I thought it was the top of the stick of Braden Jochums. We're going to get a better look at it here, and it perhaps could have gotten both. And as the camera cuts, we can't really get you a definitive answer on that.
Here in the building, the tip, if it happened, was under the score bar on the video boards. Draw to the left of Solomon. 9:20 to play here in regulation. Toros down a pair. Near side. Gibbs. Played down the wall. Beckwith, far corner, retreats behind his own net. Gets crunched by a couple of Toros, but managed to make the play to the far wall. This is Lipset. Lipset gains the red line, rolls it into the Toro zone. Connor Tui back on it. Tui tries the far side. Nichols has it taken off his stick. Tui plays the body on Beckwith. Jordan Gibbs there to help out. Puck squirts to the front. Good job by Ramirez to clean it up. Nichols looks to get the Toros out of the zone. Drops for Jordan Gibbs, who gains the red line and dumps it in. 8:35 to play here in regulation. Toros trail by a pair, trying to give the Bruins their first loss in a game when leading after 40 minutes all season long. This is Riley. Riley into the zone, watched by Ty James. He dumps it deep. Clark on it. Near side, Batten. Banks out to neutral. It comes back to Batten. He'll turn away from pressure. And that pops up into the Bruin bench for a whistle. Media timeout comes. I mentioned the Bruins record when leading after two. The Toros when leading after two. 30 wins, 1 loss. That 1 loss came at the hands of these Austin Bruins about a month ago when it looked like the Toros were controlling that game late. And with 5 minutes left, a penalty call, a 5-minute major, let the Bruins really take that game over and turn what should have been a Toro win into a Toro loss.
And I think the reason the Bruins are so good at holding on to leads is because of how aggressive they play. No matter what the score is, they're still making big hits all across the ice, pushing the puck down into the Toros zone. Toros have the shot advantage this period, but that's partially due to that power play chance off the Xander Lipset penalty. But you don't see the Bruins change how they play to the third period, even if they're up.
Toros, hopefully that aggression can work against the Bruins. Toros are still getting a few odd man rushes. They just haven't been able to get anything really off of those odd man rushes.
And the best one I thought the Toros had came in the second period. Ian Spencer driving down the left side, and it's just the case where holding on to the puck a split second too long and then looking to pass across kind of prevents the Toros from even getting a look.
That's Fleming into the zone. He lost the handle. Luong on it. Plays to the far side. Lorenza chips out to neutral. Mahler takes over. Feeds Spencer. Spencer couldn't get around Williams with the puck. It doesn't get out to neutral. Spence keeps it with help. Fleming trying to keep it again at the blue line, but is eventually jammed out. Near side, Fleming looking across for Spencer. Spencer trying to chase the Karam down. He's taken to the corner, working against a trio of Bruins. Is a pair of Toros. The scrum continues along the wall. Malkasian lost it to Mindorf. Mindorf couldn't get out front. Where is it? It's on the back of the net. Lorenza eventually finds the handle. Lorenza tied up by Spencer. Near side, glass and out for Jordan Gibbs. Meanwhile, Spence hacked down behind the play. Ahead is small, and now Spence and Lorenza are going to go, and Lorenza cross-checked Spencer in the face before Spence could do anything. And what are the calls going to be?
It happened behind the play. Didn't see what happened, and Are they going to open the boxes? Yes. A high stick is the call, and it's going to go against Alex Lorenza.
But that whole situation happens because they don't make the initial call on Lorenza. Right, Lorenza chopped Spence down behind the play. Spence gets mad, starts skating towards him. But again, Spence never actually did anything because as soon as he got there, Lorenza chopped him in the face.
And we've seen those two jawing with each other all evening long.
Just a 2-minute minor up on the board. So a good job by Spence to draw the call. It's a 2-minute high stick.
And this is the chance for the Toros to claw back before you hit that 5-minute mark. 6:51 to go in the third period. 2 minutes will take you down to 4:51 if you get there. Mahler and Riley received the explanations. Nothing more than the high stick on Alex Lorenza. Fans don't like it.
Well, and you think back to the Hubert Clark call, right? And the Toro fans want more than the 2-minute as well. They're giving it to the officials. I don't know that I've ever seen that before. A team going on the power play at home when their fans are still mad at the officials.
And
nonetheless.
I mean, I think that shows you just how in tune Toros fans are to these games. They remember that Hubert Clark major and ejection as the Bruins quickly send it the length of the ice. And that's what they want there against Alex Lorenza.
What'll be interesting is the league can review things, is if the Toros ask the league to review that play and see if it warrants additional punishment. Far side, freed up, Bruins control. It's Bynum banking it to the near side, and again, the Toros power play woes continue.
Sluggish start there. 2 very quick clears. Toros are going to try and push. We'll see if this unit can get anything going. I thought the first couple of opportunities in this game looked stronger than the past few have.
Ahead, Ian Spencer. Leaves it back for Yohala. Yohala takes up off the ice. Gains the line. Holds on. Yohala, shot. Save made. Rebound to the far side. It may have been tipped on the way through. Now it's a shorthanded rush. Savitessin. Yohala getting back, but Savitessin. Shot, save made. Follow-up try stopped as well. Yohala lost his stick, and now the Bruin player lost his. Eventually, it's carried ahead by Mindorf. Mindorf gives to Noah Gibbs. Noah Gibbs up ice for Mindorf. Return for Noah Gibbs. He missed the redirect. Puck on the near side. Throwing down the ice. And Swedes out of his net to stop. Just 20 seconds on the power play for the Toros. Evan, you had the stat. Bruins penalty kill ended the regular season on a long streak. And now continues here in the playoffs. Just 7 seconds on the man advantage. Bruins come full strength, and now they're looking for the man out of the box. It's Lorenza. Instead, it's Beckwith in the corner, throwing in front. It's off the mark. Jockham's looking to turn. Jockham's feeds Small. Small into the zone, trying to cut through, but he couldn't beat the third man, Lund. 4.5 as it's taken away. Good chop by Ramirez, but a strong save by Solomon as well. Jordan Gibbs keeps it, dumps it down low. Bruins find it and promptly ice the puck. Jordan Gibbs will easily win the race to this. Icing is brought to you by our friends at
Minot's Finest Collision Center. And out in Austin, I thought the Bruins, their strongest periods, maybe both Friday and Saturday, were the first. I think it's the flip here tonight. Toros look good in the first 20 minutes, but frankly, I think the Bruins have actually played their best hockey in the third period. 2 of those goals in the second, maybe a little bit fluky. Evan Malkajian shot through the legs, the one that wasn't. But I think they've held on to this lead well, and they've limited the Toros to 8 shots on goal despite giving up a power play chance.
2 power play chances this period. Batten falls down, and now Albert going the other way. He'll just chip it so his mates can change. 4 minutes left to go in regulation. Toros down by a pair. Jordan Gibbs leaves off far side. Ty James. Ty James speeds ahead. Hits the line, carries deep. Defender lost his stick. James trying to put it in front. Uhala dumped down as he was driving the net. I don't think the Toros can expect much more help from the officials unless it is incredibly dangerous or blatant. This is Yohala. Can't settle it down with Sevatesin, and now it's dumped in. Jordan Gibbs back on it. Gibbs leaves it behind for Ty James. Far side, Yohala. Yohala shovels it to the near side. Jordan Gibbs jumps on it. Toros are mid-change, so Jordan Gibbs has no help. And the puck is back out to neutral. 3:11 left to go here. Toros hoping for an Austin collapse, and now it's a penalty call, and it's going to be on the Toros. Or is it on the Bruins? Is it on Lorenza?
They're opening the box for the Toros, and it's Chuck Owens, and frankly, that just about does it, right? 3 minutes and 4 seconds to go. Toros go shorthanded on a high stick from Owens, and you were already thinking about pulling Lucas Svedin as that was happening. Down 2-3 to play, and now down a man. You pull Svedin, you're 5-on-5. It makes an empty netter much more attainable for the Austin Bruins. If you're Cody Campbell, you're probably waiting and hoping to get an offensive zone draw until you pull Lucas Svedin.
And if you're the Bruins, you're probably going to try and play keep away as much as you are going to try and score here. Bruins only allowed one shorthanded goal all season. That was tops in the North American League. Bruins turn it over. Adam Mahler feeds Ian Spencer into the zone. Spence, shot save made, rebound was there, but Small didn't get there in time. 2.5 to play in regulation. Bruins dump it in to the near side. Fleming, Billy Batten looking to fly the zone. Toros just clear at the length. Solomon throws it to the near side. O'Hannison out on the kill, but it's Luke Walcasian into the zone, leaves off far side. Return feed, stopped by Swedin. Puck hacked to the far wall. Bruins control, they come across Lund. Breaks his stick. O'Hannison. Awkward play, it's touched into the zone. Stopped by Swedin for Ty James. Minute 53, Ty James starts up ice. Swedes to the net, James gives to Batten. Batten shot blocked. Toros control up top. Fleming with a shot, save made, follow-up try. Blocked off. It'll end up behind the net. Beckwith hit by Batten. Banked down the ice. Adam Mahler finds it. Too many men is the call.
Maybe some confusion.
And it's the net is empty. The official didn't see it. The linesman called too many men while the Toros had an empty net. And the Toros had puck possession. They were trying to start their attack, and now they will put the draw in the offensive zone at least.
But you're still 5-on-5 because of the penalty, and you had possession of the puck there. It ruins it, right? Because now all the Bruins have to do is win a 50-50 draw and try and send one on net to end the game.
Exactly, right? So the Toros had possession. They were about to enter the zone. They had 5 skaters on the ice. That's the reason for the too many men. And it's going to be a timeout by Cody Campbell with 90 seconds left in regulation and a 2-goal deficit. Toros will get Chuck Owens back in 26 seconds or less, but if it's less, that means the Bruins have scored and it becomes moot.
And 90 seconds to draw something up, I think you really have to have it right off the face-off. I would be stunned if this isn't a one-timer formation for the Toros. If you're the Austin Bruins, you're probably setting up the wall in front of in front of Jack Solomon.
So here's my question for you. There's still 90 seconds, still time for a comeback for the Toros. If you don't get that comeback, do you go Axelson in net like they have all year on Saturday, or do you bring Solomon back, who's played very well tonight?
No doubt it's going to be Solomon the rest of the way, and that's what I thought coming into tonight, right? You win Game 3, why change anything going into Game 4? I think while the Bruins have all the belief in the world in Carl Axelson, and maybe they have him back next year, there's no way they can go away from Jack Solomon, the 20-year-old who has more experience after putting up the night that he has tonight. 23 saves, 1 goal allowed. How do you move away from that?
Yeah, they've run that rotation all year. Toros control the draw. Adam Mahler gives to Mindorf. 20 seconds left on the kill. Yohala shot blocked to the near wall. Mindorf finds it. Mindorf turns back up the wall, finds Yohala. Yohala gives to Spencer. Spencer throws it in front. Tip doesn't go for Billy Batten. Clever play by Spence and a good tip. It just didn't go. Mahler couldn't quite reach that, and the Toros are going to have to regroup. Chuck Owens out of the box. Toros come full strength. Near side, Mindorf sweeps it into the zone. Solomon out of his net. Solomon throws it up the boards on the near side. Lorenza finds it. His shot for the empty net goes off the post. And for an icing, 46.8 left to go. Icing's brought to you by our friends at Minot's Finest Collision Center. Toros with some life thanks to that play by Lorenza.
Ooh, game of inches. This one was almost over. Lorenza looking to get on the board in the postseason. Instead, Toros now get an offensive zone draw, and now that Owens is out of the box, it's 6-on-5 for the Toros. And now you really have a chance to set something up. The problem, you just got 47 seconds to do so.
Bruins win the draw, and they'll ice this puck again. 40.5 left, and if you're the Bruins, you're content to do that 8 seconds at a time. You do that 5 more times, and the game is over.
If you're the Toros, frankly, you just got to win a face-off. It's as simple as that. Win a face-off, get a shot, and hope something develops.
Yohala. 50-50 draw, jammed back. Mahler gives to Spencer. One-timer gloved and held by Solomon.
And now that's going to be the mode that the Toros are in. Far side, it doesn't matter that you're long distance with no screeners. You just got to play it out toward the front. Hope that Solomon mishandles it. He's probably not going to let that one go through. But even if he gives a rebound out in front, that's where you're looking to
Win
cash
the
in.
draw, fire the puck, and crash the net. Spence guides it back to Mahler. Mahler to the half wall. Yohala, 29 seconds. Mindorf leaves it for Batten. Batten for O'Hannison. Back to Batten, who's tied up in the corner. To put out front, one-timer doesn't go for Yohala. Clever feed from O'Hannison. 15 seconds. Batten up top, Yohala. Yohala, shot save made, no rebound given. And just 10 seconds left. Starting to feel like time is already out. You're going to have to score pretty much right off the draw, win a face-off, and go half the distance of the ice in 7 seconds.
And we saw the Toros do it against, it was the Watertown Shamrocks where they did it in 8 seconds, but it's not going to be possible when the Austin Bruins are just going to line up and prevent the Toros from driving to the net.
Edwards on the draw for the Toros. Bruins win it. They'll take it to the end wall, and we'll have game 4 tomorrow. Bruins ice the puck with 1.5 seconds left.
So the torture will continue for moments more for Toros fans. And can we go to game 4? The thing about taking a 2-0 lead is that there might not be pressure going into game 3, but you can't say the same thing about game 4. Game 4 feels like a must-win game for so many reasons. One is you don't want to let the Austin Bruins take momentum, winning 2 in a row, back to Austin for game 5. The other, quite frankly, is you would like rest for round 2 of the playoffs. If the Toros were to move on, it's a huge advantage if they can win Sunday, stay here in Minot, and get the rest. Even if you win in Game 5, travel day Sunday, play Monday, travel back overnight, and then you're starting the series on Friday once again. So for so many reasons, tomorrow's game feels like a must-win for the Toros.
Yeah, you don't want to have to go back to Austin for Game 5, although the way you've played in Austin this year, if you have to, you probably feel confident walking into that building, but a hockey game, a hockey series, they're all stories of momentum, right? Toros had all of the momentum through the first 2 games in one period. A couple of fluky plays within a couple of minutes of each other for the Austin Bruins. The Paddington goal at 5:32 and then Malkesian's goal at 6:41. And all of a sudden you start to feel like momentum shifted there. And the Toros just couldn't get it back. They had a chance late in the second period of 3-on-1. They didn't even get a shot on goal. And then in the second period, in the third period, even with the power plays, they just couldn't really get anything established. It felt like the Bruins had an extra step all period.
And momentum is such an interesting thing to talk about when it comes to junior hockey playoffs, because this isn't the NHL where you're playing every 2 or 3 nights. You're playing Friday and Saturday, and then you take a week off, and then you come out and do it again next Friday. So Toros take momentum, but it's been 6 days since they played down in Austin. If you play 2-3 days apart, it's easier to stretch it together, whereas you take that week off, and it feels like a brand new series the next week.
Also, it'll be interesting to see the split with the Bruins here in this building. The Bruins won on Friday. Toros came back with a strong effort on Saturday. I don't know that there's a coach in the division better at breaking down film and changing strategy with this group than Cody Campbell.
And that's what you saw those first 2 games at Austin. You saw a brand new Toros team that showed up when they needed it. And the Toros played well defensively, games 1 and 2. Offensively, defensively, the Bruins are one of the best teams in the North American Hockey League. Toros get 2 plus an empty netter Friday, and they win it in overtime Saturday because of how well they played defensively. You talk about 2 fluky goals, and I think the Toros needed to put more shots on net in the final 40 minutes, and it wasn't a matter of gaining control of the puck. It was a matter of not passing the puck when you have a shot.
Yeah, I thought they did, like you said, passing up shooting opportunities, and that's why you end up with, 26 shots on goal. You only allow 29. Most nights, if you only allow 29, Lucas is only going to allow 1, maybe 2 goals. Overall, it's a 5-game set. You just needed to get 1 of the 2 at home. That's still on the table. I think the biggest takeaway from tonight is to just wash it, right? Take it out of your mind. The goal was, it's the first to win 3. You had a 2-0 lead. You just had to get 1 of the final 3 with 2 of them being at home. So obviously the coaching staff, the players, watch the film on tonight, see what adjustments the Bruins made, have a response tomorrow. But it's certainly not panic time.
And you say wash it, but it's also not like the Toros got killed tonight.
No.
This is not a 5-0 loss that they suffered out in Austin back in March. This is a back-and-forth game where a couple of pucks find the back of the net that maybe should or shouldn't have. Malkasian gets a pretty good one after that, and all of a sudden you're in a 2-goal deficit. And in the third period, frankly, the Toros just can't break through. It's not like they got beat down in the third period, so frankly, the Toros lost a 20-minute stretch of hockey tonight. It's not the end of the world, and that's why you got to flush it. You find those 1 or 2 things on film, and you make those corrections.
Yeah, I don't know what else there really is to do, right? You shouldn't be too panicked about it. Shots were 29-26, and again, they missed at least 1 shot for the Toros. The Billy Batten goal was a rebound goal, and that resulted in only 1 shot, so really, Toros get outshot by 2 tonight. They lose by 2. it was a pretty even game. Toros controlled the first 20. Bruins controlled the first half of the middle 20. And I think after that, it was a pretty even game through the second half of the second period and the whole third period. The problem for the Toros, an even third period doesn't help when you're trailing by 2.
The one thing that becomes abundantly clear from this game, though, and I think we knew it coming into the series, but it's been confirmed over the course of the first 3 games, 3 goals wins you a hockey game in this series.
For sure, and I think if you're a Toros fan, you're pretty confident Lucas Swedin isn't going to continually give up 3 goals. So, if they can just get that offense going again, and credit as well to Jack Solomon, he made a couple of good saves. It wasn't like the Toros were putting them all in his chest. 25 of 26. You and I talked about it late in that period. If I'm Steve Howard, I'm going back with Jack Solomon tomorrow.
How can you not?
No offense to Carl Axelson. He's had a great season. He played pretty well in the game he lost, game 2. But all in all, season on the line, Solomon played great tonight. I don't know how you risk going in any other direction.
When you've got a hot hand, you have to roll with it. And that's the luxury that you think the Bruins have until it doesn't become a luxury and you have to make a decision like this. I agree, Ken. I think Solomon's between the pipes for the Bruins tomorrow, but are we going to pay off some forebears, or what's the drill here?
It is over Toros' first period goals, under empty net goals, under overtime minutes played, which, let's see if we have a winner. We do. The winner is Mike Carlock. Well, that'll be an easy person to track down. So, I guess that'll wrap us up. Take care of it for Evan Epstein, Sean Bachhoven, MJ and Grace on cameras, Kobe Brault, Sebastian Machado, Lauren Hill, and Edward Neiman. We had the full team in the house tonight. I'm Ken Oda, hoping you enjoyed the broadcast. In spite of the outcome, just means we get to have a fun party on a Saturday. Hopefully handshakes at home tomorrow night. Pre-game show will start at roughly 7:25. Until then.